Nice.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
What's up, timeless gamers? Welcome to the Timeless Gamers Show, where our games and bodies may go out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain timeless. Previously on TGS, we were reviewing the movie Rampage. And if you want to check out that episode, head on over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. If you enjoyed that discussion, follow us on your preferred social media platform by searching Timeless Gamers Show. To everyone watching live or tuning in via the podcast, thank you for listening, wherever you are. We do really appreciate it. In this episode, we are giving our takes on various SEGA arcade games. We're talking Afterburner 2, Outrun, Manti, Superbikes, Space Harrier, Shinobi, Golden X, and Crackdown. If you played any of those games or any other SEGA games, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. We'd love to hear. I'm RV. And in this episode, let me introduce to you the rest of the TGS crew, starting off with Sir Joe.
Oh, sorry about that. I still had myself on mute. Sorry. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. Welcome to the Timeless Gamers Show again. This week, we are going to be talking about, well, something that I am much more familiar with than modern games, arcade games, and particularly SEGA arcade games. Thanks very much for being here. We hope that you guys will participate in the chats, not just during the live, but also afterwards. We're always willing to respond, even after the show. Back to you, RV.
Thank you, Sir Joel. And the chat is already lighting up. Shout out to Sir Dan in the chat, and Miss I. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we have Sir Juan.
I'm putting on the spot. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode where we are talking about arcade classics, the Sega Genesis Edition. I'm just right along with this. Put your guys' thoughts in the comments, and let's get it. Back to you. Sorry about that. Cat.
Thank you, Sir Juan. Next up, Sir Viraj.
All right. Let's do this. Today we're going to be talking about Sega, their arcade legacy, and really, I mean, they made so many great games, through the 80s to the 90s, even the 2000s, the arcades were they. They're the kings of the arcade. And we're going to be talking today about some choices that one of our panel members, Dan, presented. A number of games that he wanted to sort of put out there that made Sega probably put Sega on the map in the arcades in the 1980s, because there were lots of other arcade companies, but these games really did propel Sega as being a serious contender in the arcades. So I hope you enjoy this very special episode.
Thank you, Sir Viraj. And last but not least, Sir Joe.
Listen.
Sega. What's up, guys? So, it's all about Sega arcade games. You know what? Every once in a while, we're bringing the old 80s and 90s video games, particularly Sega, because not a lot of love going to Sega. at least nowadays. Now that they're just doing software, but hey, you know what? This time around, we're talking about all 6 arcade games, particularly produced and developed by Sega themselves. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Sir Joe. Let's get straight into it. Would you like me to pass on to Silverage, who will start off with our first game? I believe Space Harrier, Silverage.
All right, yeah. So Space Harrier, welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Let's get ready. Space Harrier, Space Harrier was a game created by Sega in 1985 by their arcade division AM2. And AM2 were known to make some of the most prolific, interesting arcade games at their time. This game here was very rare. I can't stress how revolutionary this game was in 1985. If you look at it, it's a scaling rail shooter. And it was, in my view, from what I can understand, the first of its kind, or the first one of its kind that people could really enjoy. It was 16-bit technology in the arcade. And it's not just any scaling technology, it's super scaling, where you have the vanishing point in the background. We've got our hero, the Space Harrier, in the fantasy zone, fighting dragons. And as you can see, he's got to dodge all the obstacles. He's got to shoot the monsters and the bad guys and the weird creatures and all that stuff. There's a boss at the end of each round, and he moves to the next scenario. So yeah, a very, very big deal back in '85. I mean, you see this in the arcades then, amongst what else there was by Konami or Capcom or Namco. This thing really did stand out. And it was part of their way of having they wanted to have an experienced arcade experience style. That's what Sega were going for. Arcade, a really immersive experience type of game. And Yu Suzuki proposed this to Sega, and Sega said, "Yeah, go and get on it." And they developed the hardware, and they went and made this game. Now, we'll touch on another game later, Afterburner, but he actually wanted to make Afterburner, but the technology just wasn't there. This is used its own custom board, which was called the Space Harrier board, but it just couldn't handle the assets that Space Harrier has, and we'll get to that later. Sorry, Afterburner has. We'll get to that later. This particular game, though, allowed the minimal sprite of a man with a gun, the space beam, going through all the scenarios. I think there were 18 in total, if memory serves correct. There might have been 21, and you had to get to the end of the stage. Truly a visual spectacle for its time, because you can see the foreground. It gives the illusion of foreground coming to the background coming towards the foreground. So really, really good. And you're encouraged with the narrator saying you're doing great, and you go to the next stage and really, really, really really outstanding. The soundtrack outstanding. Inspired by a lot of I think it was a lot of Japanese bands at the time. So you have a lot of references to that. The band in question is P-Square, and they've taken bits of their style of music and incorporated in this, and it was inspired by that. But you have a really good soundtrack that you can sort of listen to and get into this game with. The arcade cab was, well, you could have it just as a stick and buttons or whatever. You had like a fight stick and buttons, but you also had a seat that would move as well. So you also had an arcade that would make you feel like you're moving in the game, and there's nothing quite like it for its time. So a very, very, well thought out game. It's 40 years old plus now. It's 40 years old today. Well, this year. So, last year. But it's really a game that you guys want to sort of give a go, and it's definitely one worth trying. It has had a number of ports on Master System, the 32X, and even on Dreamcast through Shenmue. So yeah, this is the game in question. So I love this game. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I first experienced it on the 32X port, and it's pretty much a one-to-one port of this game, but it runs at 30 frames per second, so they couldn't quite replicate the arcade experience even 10 years later. That's how far ahead of its time in terms of technology it was. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let's start with you, Sir Joel. What do you think of this game when you refresh your memory playing it again?
Well, you forgot to mention.
Oh,
yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Right,
I was there. Yeah. You forgot to mention one thing, Viraj. This was also in the Yakuza Zero
Zero, yeah.
video game. Yeah, in the
Okay.
arcade portion. So yes, Kazuma Kiryu played this game, and it was fully playable inside of the Yakuza
Mm.
arcade. So yes, this is one of those games where you can say this game makes absolutely no sense, but it's absolutely fun to play.
Very
When
abstract.
why is this guy running around with no spacesuit,
Yeah.
with a rocket pack? Well, I mean, I don't even know if he actually has a rocket pack. I mean, I'm trying to have a look at it, but he's just floating around. Maybe he's just doing the usual
The fucking fairies.
John Carter of Mars thing, where in a different gravity you can do strange things. But yes, it is a very, to be perfectly honest, it is a tough game. It is a very hard game. When
Mm.
you get down to it, trying to control somebody in third person perspective from behind, shooting at things coming at you, is inherently hard. Some might say it's a little bit easier when you're in the cockpit of a plane, like in
Mm.
Afterburner 2.
Yeah.
But yes, in this case, it's a little hard because of the fact that you have to factor in not just the enemies that are coming at you, but also the obstacles on the ground that might be coming at you as well, which are stationary. Do you know they can see them coming at you, and you have to factor that in as the enemies are moving at you in various
Yeah.
various patterns. So it's a very hard game, but honestly, it's a lot of fun. The variety of enemies as well as the colors that come at you, it's
Mhm.
very it does indulge your senses. It's very psychedelic, for
Mm.
lack of a better word. And yeah, I guess this is a good game to play while you're high as fuck. I guess,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know.
I love the attention to detail in this game as
Mm,
well on the sprites, you know. But yeah, it's sci-fi fantasy set in this
mm,
fictional area called the Fantasy Zone. There's a
yes.
space harrier, and he's out there to save Dragonland from all these monsters.
Hmm.
That's basically the short story of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's really out there, and it's definitely eye candy. I mean, in '85, this would have been eye candy. There's nothing
Yes.
quite like it.
Very true. Very
Ever
true.
made. I mean, obviously, there were there's a sequel Space Harrier still on the Mega Drive that came out as a console exclusive, which wasn't as good, I felt. But you also had Planet Harriers, which is an arcade sequel. I don't know if you remember that in the late '90s. It's probably you might want to check out. That's got the same sort of DNA as Space Harrier. But yeah, thank you very much for your thoughts. What about yourself, Harvey? What do you think?
Yeah, before I get on to my thoughts, I'll just shout out to a few people. So Richard Ryan Ortega, he says, I'm all ears and eyes. Thank you for joining us. So Marky Mark is in the chat. Shout out to you, Sir Mark. Danielle says, Sega Arcade Games Virtual Fighter. And Sir JDM says, that's Duke Nukem's with a rocket pack. So to answer Sir Joel's question, how he flies. But yeah, no, I played through all 18 levels of Space Harrier. It took me about, I don't know, I'd say in coins, it would have taken me about $30. I died so many times. To be honest, I wasn't entirely sure what was going on at any stage. But yes, released in 1985, Space Harrier stars the blonde hero flying through the surreal fantasy world of shooting everything. Dragons, shoot them. Mammoths, shoot them. Floating heads, shoot them. Definitely shoot them. I believe it was created by Yu Suzuki. Is that correct?
Yep, Yu Suzuki
Yeah.
of AIM2. Yeah.
AIM's, yeah. He created many great Sega arcade games.
This was his first game
His
that
first
was
one.
really out there. I wouldn't say it's his first game. It's his first game that he worked on that was this experience style. That was a huge hit. So yeah.
And even what I love was the famous opening line, "Welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready." It remains one of the greatest intros. It's weird. It's fast. It makes absolutely
Oh my
no
goodness, we've
sense.
got royalty coming in. There you go.
Hello, Sir Dan.
Oh, you made an appearance. Great. Okay.
Oh, great. Hey Dan, welcome.
Hey,
Right,
Dan.
guys.
Very, very happy you're here.
Couldn't miss this one, could I?
Oh, yeah.
I've just come back from a treatment, and I normally go straight to sleep, and they've filled me full of drugs to keep me for this show.
Oh.
Well, this is appropriate because Space Harrier, you almost feel like you're on them while you're playing it. But anyway, yeah, Dan. All right, so we might as well have a look at what Dan has to say about it because he's here. Space Harrier, what do you think about the game?
Space Harrier was the game what turned me on to Sega in the arcade. That people talk about whatever game it is, Mario 64 or Sonic, whatever, that blew them away. Mine was Space Harrier. A big part of it was the actual cab you sat in, because the movement was so well done, and it really made you feel part of the game. And combined with the speed and the action, it blew my mind. I played Sega games before, like Buck Rogers and that, and Zaxxon, but this was the game that made me sit up and say, wow, where can I get more of that? When can I get more of that? And I think it's to me, it's one of my most favorite games. I love, I'm like a difficult, arcade game. It's really intense. I think the enemy patterns, if you stop to actually learn the game properly and pay attention to the enemy patterns, it's really clever how they do it. You know what I mean? They evolve in a really clever way. And so for me, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I got it on the Game Boy Advance because it was part of Sega. Okay, it had lots of ports, to be fair. Game Gear, even the microcomputers of the era. Master System port was the main one that came out with. I've also got it here on the Astro City Mini, so a lot of fun to play. One thing that I find really interesting is you made a point about how the enemy placement is really, really well engineered. Yeah. But it's when you get to stage 4, Cecil, and when the roof comes down and it speeds up, you're like, oh my god, but what is going on here? And that's when shit gets real. Pardon my French. That's when you got to start moving and you have to be quick. I've beaten this game in 23 credits. That's the best I've done.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. I've put it on 1 credit, but I've spent 30 years playing it, mate. So
I mean?
It took me a long time to get it down to that level, and I spent a lot of money on arcades too. First year of playing it in arcades. Yeah, I couldn't get past 8th stage. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it were. But
how many 10p coins you put in the machine?
I had to think. But this was one of those that when you were at the arcades, people were fighting to get on it. Literally fighting as kids. You were get out of my door, man. You know what I mean? And the queues. There were. I mean, let's remember this was 1985. So you look at this, and people were making out Mario with a big thing. And don't get me wrong, Mario was a big thing in the long term, but you were playing a game like this and on the cab and jumping around, and you didn't care about little platforms and stuff. You were flying through. You felt like you were flying through another world.
I would say Dan makes a really good point here. Space Harrier illustrates the vast chasm between the visual aspect of a family computer, an NES game, as opposed to an arcade experience. We're talking you play the NES Famicom at home, a lot of fun and everything like that. But when you go to the arcade, it's a vastly different experience because the visuals are crisper, much more top-notch. The action is faster. The experience envelops you entirely. It's a whole body experience, as opposed to if you were just playing on the NES Famicom. It's very visual and very, very auditory. But this one, you feel the entire experience all throughout your body. So yes, Dan makes a tremendous.
But with that too, I mean, when you're in an arcade, dude, for me anyway, when I'm playing, you got people walking by, so I'm not trying to look like a fucking idiot and get my ass kicked. It's a different experience. I mean, when you know you're going to an arcade, dude, you're going to an arcade to have fun. You're going to an arcade to fucking spend money.
Yes.
I want to stress a point that's just been raised here about the graphics for this thing. And back in those days, microcomputers were there, but the best graphics for video games were in the arcades. Yeah, that's the truth.
Yes.
This game was a revolution, not an evolution of what we've seen before, a revolution. Nothing like this ever existed. This is the first of its kind. It was amazing. I can understand Saddam when he walked into the arcade. It was like, oh my God, what is this? This is amazing. Of course, people are going to queue outside for this. Of course, people will love this sort of game. And Yu Suzuki and Sega AM2 they smashed it. And this is a game that's timeless. You can still go into an arcade and still love it. That's the thing. It has so much replay value. There's so much joy when playing this game. Even now, I still play this game.
Heck,
You know?
even right now, with the footage playing in the square in our screen, my eyes are still drawn to it the way it is right now. I'm having a hard time tearing my eyes away.
You've got to think that this didn't get a good home port until the 32X version around 10 years later. So that's how far advanced it was. You know what I mean?
It's a 32-bit console.
Only able to reproduce this 10 years later in a proper form.
Even then, it ran at 30 frames a second. It was the Saturn with the Sega Ages Volume 1 when it was really 1-to-1.
When it got it,
took over 10 years, really. But sorry, I forgot to mention his name. I want to credit him as well, because not only was Yu Suzuki the main craftsman behind this, but Hiroshi Kawaguchi, he was the sound engineer for this game, and he was inspired by T-Square and a lot of their music at the time, which was the Japanese electro jazz band, and a lot of their cues from their album was used in this. Well, not used, but was inspired by the original music that was created in this and other games. As we continue on with discussing the games of Sega in their what I'd call the golden age of arcade gaming, and this was the very beginning of their pinnacle.
I want to emphasize a little something that Juan brought up, which is extremely pertinent. When you go to the arcade, it's not just a solo experience. You've got people hanging around you. You've got not just your friends, but total strangers watching what you're doing. And like Juan says, you don't want to look like an ass, failing at the first coin that you did. Because if you've got your reputation there, you've got your friends there, and it's only getting close to that point only recently, where it's a social experience already. Because single player games are absolutely wonderful. I love them, but when you include the social aspect of it, of people watching you, enjoying what you're doing, criticizing you for what you're doing, and making sure, telling you, dude, you shouldn't have done that. It's the arcade experience as well. You make friends there. Absolute strangers become your friends as well there.
Well, that was my thing.
Mm-hmm. There
like
you go.
back in the day, when it was, when it was Funwork before it went Boomers on this side. They used to have $10 Tuesdays. So literally, you go for $10 and play arcades all day. So I was Street Fighter and Initial D were my two go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
But to what Rod was saying too, the arcade, playing an Initial D on the arcade and playing it on the PS3, dude, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and slap the stick. Slap the stick to switch gears.
Yeah. I think Sir Joel made a good point that the probably the best version I've played in recent times. Bearing in mind, I've not played the Saturn version for a long time because I don't own a Saturn. But the Yakuza 0 version is brilliant.
Well, yes, it is the Saturn version plus extra features. So anything from the Saturn onwards, because there was a Dreamcast version as well, because it was in Shenmue. They've literally taken that and just continued with it. So actually, any version after the Saturn version, that's going to be a true one-to-one of this game.
What they've done on a few of the later ones, though, in the Yakuza series, is they've kept the original arcade controls, which doesn't work as well because the arcade centers itself. So if you pull yourself back, it centers itself. So your man on your screen keeps getting drawn back to the center, whereas on the Yakuza 0 version, you use the console setup where it doesn't do that, and it's a lot better for people trying to get into it.
That's correct. Yeah,
I'm trying to remember what other Sega games were on Judgment.
Oh, I haven't played Judgment yet, but I
know Virtual Fighter was on there. Virtual Fighter, and then Fighting Vipers. I remember those two.
Yeah,
I don't remember the other ones.
Just to be it, to be fair, I don't think they had many.
Fantasy Zone was there too, if I remember correctly, but not on Judgment. Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Fantasy Zone's on everything now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You can support that game everywhere, but
probably had Outrun. Most of Outrun, don't they?
Outrun, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What I want to talk about just before we sort of finish with this game is the fact that Sega created a custom board for this game, and that board was used for other games. So honorable mentions that we also used this board was Enduro Racer, Hang On, the original Hang On, and Super Hang On. So that custom board was reused, and you have to understand that these boards were like consoles in themselves. They're high-end pieces of hardware that were expensive to manufacture. Obviously, the vendors paid a bit of money for it, and they obviously made a killing selling it to vendors. Because obviously when they saw this, they thought, wow, we can really win with this. Because what part, and I'll always remember what Brian F. Collins said. You know, we talked about Rampage, and he said this when I talked to him, which was, when you're a game designer, you have to think of two people: the vendor and the operator. Now, the vendor has to think, am I going to get money from this? How is the game going to be going to make me money? And of course, this game's quite difficult and challenging. Of course, he's going to need to put some more. But then the operator's like, this is so awesome, I want to continue playing it. So they're going to reach for their quarter and put it back in and put the money in there. And this is a game that has that balance. In fact, I would say that it's more for the operator than the vendor, but it was that good. People would play it. So, outstanding game. It's actually one of my favorites for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, there's one person that we haven't heard the opinion of yet. Jaw, I'd like to hear your opinion on Space Harrier. You in the hat. You.
You call him Silent Joe.
And Bison flew oyster bar hat.
All right. Well, I mean, what else to say that haven't been said regarding Space Harrier? A few years back, when Sir Dan joined the show, it's one of those games that he wanted us to play as a challenge. But I think at the time it was like a Mega Drive game. This was we played the port of Space Harrier for the Mega Drive.
Space Harrier 2. Space Harrier 2.
Space Harrier. Was it Space Harrier 2?
Yeah,
right?
There was no Space
Harrier.
Harrier. Mega Drive Mini 2, which that's its own thing.
So that was my first experience of Space Harrier. And then when they urged me to play Yakuza, and one of the mini games was also a Space Harrier, and I'm like, and then Sir Dan said, "Okay, we're gonna do a topic regarding Sega arcade games," and I'm like, "Please not Space Harrier, please not Space Harrier, Space Harrier." Fuck! Can never escape Space Harrier. All right, no, I'm not saying it's a bad game, okay, but I want to say. I played all of the games that Sir Dan wanted us to play using MAME, all right? And if I played this back in the arcade, it's like, I'm gonna be in the poorhouse. Like all of the tokens that I had to spend just to advance through all the stage, and there's like 18 stages in this game. Assuming you'll be good enough to play all the way up to stage 18. Sure. But then again, like Sir Joel mentioned and Sir Juan mentioned, if you're gonna play this on the arcade, like the actual cabinet of Space Harrier, it's not like one of those joystick and a button combination. No. To my knowledge, the original Space Harrier is the one with the actual what do you call that? Yeah, with the actual control stick.
That's what
right?
it is.
Stop playing with yourself, man. Stop playing with yourself. Dude.
Love it, man.
And one of the good things that I can probably say about Space Harrier, if you're playing this on the arcade and if you're in the zone playing this, like eventually you'll draw in a crowd. If you're good enough to play this all the way without dying,
yeah.
I mean, hey, you'll be considered like a local hero in your arcade neighborhood.
I spent years getting to beat it on one credit, and most of that time it had crowds. And the first time I beat it on one credit, I had 2 people watching, and I was like, "Thanks."
Oh. Just spent you.
Hey, this is not 2, right? It's a good thing that I played this on emulator because like Sir RV, I did die like a bunch of times. Thank God there's like I keep pressing the 1-up coin all the way to the maximum level because it's a good thing because even if you die here, you don't start right at the very beginning.
I guess that's one good thing. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that because it will be so very frustrating if you go all the way back, right?
Yeah.
That in itself.
So I did manage up to level 12. To be honest, and I'm not like Sir Dan, where I just go, dodging all of the things that's coming right at me. My usual strategy is keep veering to the left. Keep veering to the left. We just keep going to the left. Shoot, 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 shoot. I mean, just don't. I mean, the screen will just go on even without you doing anything. Eventually, you'll reach the
So
boss,
you're
regardless
going for
whether
the
you hit
lowest score
anything or
possible.
not. Right? That's why I reached
Ju-
level 12.
Joe is using the drive like a NASCAR driver technique. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh, dear.
No,
See,
yeah.
one
I
thing
mean,
that-
seriously, I mean, yeah. Even like it's not like one of those games that you need to. I mean, remember when Fantasy Zone, like you need to destroy specific enemies for the boss to come out, right? With Space Harrier, none of that.
Mm.
As long as you manage to stay alive long enough, eventually you will reach the boss.
True, true, true.
And once you reach the boss, then by all means, if you manage to get the rhythm right, if you manage to get the formula or at least the pattern right, eventually you'll beat the boss. You'll go on to the next stage.
I mean, you've got to
So,
remember as well that the big thing. So modern gamers always think in terms of beating a game, but we were happy to come away with our names on the top of the high score table.
On the
We-
leaderboard.
We got stage 12, but we killed more enemies than somebody who got stage 16.
Mhm.
We were higher on that table. So that was that. You know, people will think, "Oh, I keep getting beat and don't find it satisfying," whereas we just found it satisfying just to get an high score.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. Very
Let's
true.
not forget there was the bonus
what
stage
Dan
level
just said.
where you're on that dragon. Remember the luck dragon from Neverending Story? I think that was inspired.
Oh yeah. Mm.
And that was in this
That's
game.
Part 4.
Yes,
Pretty
Juan, you
cool.
were saying.
See, to Dan's point, yeah, we all wanted to be on the leaderboard until they fucking pulled the power cable, then it's gone.
Ah, yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh my goodness.
You know what?
So you had
I mean,
you had your,
I mean,
your,
to
your
hell with-
famous
I mean,
glory
hey.
for the day.
To hell with you guys. I just want to see how far I can go.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
so that is
God forbid. I mean, I'm not even aiming for the leaderboard. I'm like, I just want to see if I can, if I can at least reach the highest stage that I can go with the money that I got. Assuming if I'm playing this back in the arcade, 1985. I'm like 1 year old when this. Okay.
It's
All
still
right.
valid.
So
it's still valid.
you're just putting random coins in and just playing with your hand up, not knowing what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. But anyway,
No,
that is Space Harrier.
I mean, out of all seriousness, like if we six played in the arcade and this game is in there, most likely, sir, Dan will be the first one to play this, and all five of us will just hovering on his
We'll be
back.
giving him our quarters. We'll give him
No,
our
yeah.
quarters. Here, you play for us. You play for
That's
us.
also valid. We can do that too. We can do that too. Back in the
And,
day,
and we will all be doing the same body shuffle as he does.
yeah.
We'll be doing this along with him. And we're not even the one playing it. We'll be doing this.
Shall we move on to the next game?
Yes.
So
let's move on to the
before we
next
move
game.
on,
Let's
I have to
maximize
ask.
this- Yes, go ahead.
So all of us are arcade players. Now, how many of you guys fucking just got pissed off and just slammed the fuck out of it? So like for me, Street Fighter, if I got my ass kicked, I'm like, bam, right on the fucking top, on the buttons
Well,
on the joystick.
Yeah.
I used to a little bit, but we had my local arcade had quite a big lad in who used to give you a slap if you did that. So I was doing that.
Yeah.
You'll be banned for life, actually, if you did
that's
that
true.
in our
Actually,
arcade.
in our case, yeah, in the Philippines, the operators knew how expensive the machines were, so they really was not allowed. Yeah, because if you caused damage to it, you didn't have the funds to pay for it, and it would just sit not gathering dust and not
See,
generating.
I mean, that's how it was in the
revenue.
States. A lot of arcades I went to, like,
Mhm.
it was a 50-50 shot if the game was going to be properly, working or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I threw my 4 quarters in for certain games and nothing works. I'm like, really?
Ah, that's too bad. Well, although moving on to the next game so that we can maximize Dan's time here. Speaking of which, I completely
What are we
agree
rating?
with Dan. Yes. Ratings, I would say, Space Harrier 10 out of 10, definitely.
Dan?
Mate, for me personally, it's a 10. I think for newcomers, it's about 8.5 because of the difficulty. But for me, a 10.
RB?
I gave it 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
8 out of
it's the first time playing it, so yeah.
Okay.
I loved it.
Barrage.
10.
10. Okay. Now, I mean, first time playing it, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I mean, it was fun as hell, and I want to play more of it. What
Joe.
about you, Joe?
My vote doesn't not count because I suck at this game. I give it three.
Okay.
It's
Fine,
okay.
fine.
Hey,
Although,
next time you play with cheats.
on a personal note, I attribute Dan's being here because of the fact that because of the topic and the rousing rendition, the Japanese rendition of the touch that I posted in our chat. There you go. Anyway, all right.
I listened to it today when I was shaving in the morning. There you go.
Oh, there you go. All right. Next game. What do we have? What do you have, RB?
Next
Nice.
game, I believe, is Outrun Server Rights, 1986.
Oh,
So,
fucking
1986
Tasmania.
Sega. And as if Space
Joe.
Harrier wasn't great enough, they followed it with another great super scaler. This also had its own custom board. It was called the Sega Outrun hardware. That's what it's called. And Yu Suzuki and his team, Hiroshi Kawaguchi, who did the sound. And oh my god, where do I begin with this? So 1986.
That it's
Ferrari
Tasmania.
was big. Ferrari was big in '86. You know, the Testarossa was there. It was the car. And the funny story behind this game is Yu Suzuki said, you know, I need some experience. I want to sort of go on a road trip, you know, to Europe to get some ideas, to get some inspiration. So Sega paid him to go to Europe, and he rented out a sports car and drove across Europe to get the inspiration for this game. And he went back. He got a paid holiday. He went back to Sega. And he said, this is the game we're going to make. And it's an experience game where you're driving. You're driving a Ferrari. You got your girlfriend. And you have to get to the checkpoint within the time. Right. So the idea is we're going to... That's it. Yeah, whatever.
Agree.
We'll touch on that later. So you have to get...
No, we're touching it now.
And you don't want to get...
You're fucked now.
You don't wanna-
You're fucked, right?
Basically, Tasmania and
fucking
Outrun
talk.
same game.
Stop interrupting me. Forget the comment section. I'm trying to talk about this. Right. So this game, you have to get to the checkpoint within the time limit without crashing your car or going off road. And you have a low gear and a high gear, and you have to balance that. And you don't want to crash the car because that means you waste time and you don't get to the checkpoint and you lose points. Well, you lose the credit basically, and you'll have to put another credit in there. A great soundtrack with three distinct tracks on there. They've added to them as we have later renditions. So a very, 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 very popular game in 1986. This is a game. While Space Harrier was definitely a game changer, this one is the one that a lot of people played. Everybody played this game. This game is so famous. Everyone knows about this. Right, that's all I have to say about that. Now, obviously, it had ports on the Master System, Game Gear, on the Master. Yeah, what was I say? Mega Drive. There's the Mega Drive port. That's the one I played. It was even on the Game Boy Advance as part of Sega Arcade Gallery. That's when I really enjoyed this game. And obviously, there's different ways to play it on Sega Ages Volume 1, etc., and going forward. But yeah, a great game for sure. I love it, you know, just as I like Space Harrier. And this is definitely one of these games you need to play before you die. Definitely. So, Dan, what do you want to add to this? What would you like to add?
I mean, I think you've touched on there. This took Sega's super scaler and took Sega themselves to another level because it had a more popular appeal.
Yeah.
I like that comment, RV.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Ferrari straight away grabbed everybody's attention.
Yeah.
The cab that it was in was a Ferrari cab, and this was working class peasants. This was like, whoa,
We'll be able to afford this game. Yeah.
Yeah, the closest we're ever going to get to drive a Ferrari. Let's give it a go. And the speed that you get to, I mean, Space Harrier were brilliant, but the smoothness and the speed of this were fantastic. And this were another. I think this were. I remember going to the arcades as a lad with my friends, and we're 90% male friends. But then the next year when Outrun were there were a few girls who used to come with, and they used to love it. This were more appealing to them. So.
Definitely, because Space Harrier is quite an abstract concept and shooting, whereas everybody drives a car. You know, that's something that we can all relate to. So this is actually more for the layman, and it goes for everyone. Everyone can play this. No one gives a fuck about shitty Tasmania. That's a load of shit compared to this game.
Not compared to you.
Let's not forget that I think in 1980 this was the highest grossing game in 1987.
That's correct.
Out of anything. So your Marios and all that, this was top of the shop for earning in 1987. So that shows how popular it was.
Yeah, because it took a lot of money at the arcades. Not loads of cabinets were sold. You also had two different cabinets. You had one where you were standing, and you also had one where you were actually sitting in the booth and driving this game. Brilliant soundtrack as well. You got Magical Sound Shower, Passing Breeze, and Splash Wave, which is my favorite of the three. I know most people like Magical Sound Shower, but you can't go wrong. But yeah, brilliant game for sure. Can't really say anything more than that, really.
There was another game that was just as cool.
You have a lot more other sprites that move along with it. There's a lot more involved aspects to this game compared to Space Harrier, and you have a lot more detail with the backgrounds and whatever. So it had its own board, and other games that were also assigned to that same board was the limited edition of Super Hang-On and Turbo Outrun. That was a game that would outrun. That's what Sega said when they marketed that. But it is very much its own game that stood out, and again stands the test of time today. I mean, whilst we had a sequel, Outrun 2, which in my opinion is better than the original, but I think this definitely stands the test of time in terms of its simplicity, and I think it's accessible to people even today, just like Space Harrier is. So yeah, Outrun, they followed a great with another great. What can I say? That's my thoughts.
I think a good thing about Outrun is what I love about it is obviously so Space Harrier, like we've touched on. If you're not an arcade player, you might find it a bit difficult. You've only got one route, whereas with Outrun, you've got several routes to choose from, and it's a lot more accessible for people like me who want to ramp up the challenge. You can go to the far right. People who want it easy, go to the far left, and everything in between. So it adds a lot of replayability to it as well.
Yes. So you have you're right. You have diverging pathways, and obviously, if you're going to the left, you're taking the easiest route, and the more right you go, the more hard you're going to go. So basically, and you have different endings as well. They chuck you up and down, different animations as well, where he might meet another hot babe, and then the girlfriend gets angry and stuff like that. It's funny at the end. So they've got these little cutesy little animations that you're rewarded with when you win it on different routes. So you have that replay value. Again, the scores, you want to get through the checkpoints without crashing and get the best time, and that equates to the score, and obviously you get the best outrunners. So yeah, great game. So Joel, your thoughts on this game?
I want to acknowledge a little comment on the chats earlier by Jacob Vega Sampson. Is Superman there? It's a little reference to a racing game, a top-down racing game on the Nintendo Entertainment System or the Famicom, where if you're driving, it's a top-down. If you're ahead of the pack, there's this little superhero flying at the corner of the screen, and it distracts you, and you crash the car. I completely forget what the name of the game was, but it was there. I played the heck out of that one. But this one, Outrun, tremendous game. I enjoyed it a lot. Like Dan said, the cab is a full car cab. If I remember correctly, you sit down at it. A lot of racing games had that, where it was a sit down cab where you really felt, again, playing into the whole body experience thing. But one thing that should not be discounted is 1986, right? Viraj, correct?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that one of the major things, remember in 1986 or the late 80s, was Miami Vice. Anybody who was an 80s kid loved Miami Vice and loved Sonny Crockett's Testarossa. That played a huge factor, I'm imagining, in how popular this game was in attracting a visual crowd, because of the fact that you loved Sonny Crockett's Testarossa. You wanted to drive that. You saw a Testarossa in Outrun. Oh, dude, I got to try this one. And the game was able to sell itself on its own merit. So the Testarossa might have drawn the people in, but the game proper drew the people in. Yes.
And Magnum PI had these.
Magnum PI, yes, that's true.
Yeah. It wasn't a Testarossa, but it was a red Ferrari, and he was a badass. You loved that. So
that's true.
Magnum PI. Also, you had like Kit Knight Rider. There's a lot of these.
Absolutely, yes.
So you have that. So yeah, definitely.
The thing about the 80s was people in the 80s, the creators in the 80s knew how to play to people's interests. They knew what was in the zeitgeist of the industry. They knew the culture. They knew what people would enjoy in playing. So they really made sure to make games that would appeal to it. I'm absolutely sure Yu Suzuki went on that trip, experienced it, and said, this is something that a lot of people would want to experience themselves. So he made this game, I'm sure, so with the idea that people will want to feel this type of speed, this seeing all the sights and racing all of these cars also. So yes, he knocked it out of the park on this one. I'd say Outrun, great game. Joe, remember there's gears to this, okay? You have to shift. Okay?
It's up and down, up and down. On the gear. What's really good is
I'm aware.
they've
I'm aware
actually got a
now.
ROM. They've actually added an addendum to a ROM. So if you're playing on your emulation device, there's a high and low gear indicator there. Because obviously back then you had a visual thing where you could see the stick. Obviously on the ROM you don't see it, so you don't know if you're high or low. But they've actually added it. So Murphy342, thank you for adding that. You can actually now do that in the ROM. So that's really cool. But yeah, this game, I don't know, it should be available in the arcades or whatever. Or you can find other ways to play it. You've obviously got there's obviously the Sega Ages port on Nintendo Switch, which is outstanding. That's the best way to play it, if I'm being honest. But there's also other ways that I think it's also in. Was it in Shenmue as well? I can't remember, but it's in one of these.
I think it's in Judgment. I had a look at the games list on. I had a look at the games list one on Judgment, and yeah, it's over there.
Sega Ages Volume 1 as well on Saturn. That's where it began, and we got the true arcade port that you wanted. And obviously, there's the Mega Drive port, which is its own thing as well. But yeah, many other ways to play this.
Now that we mentioned Juan, our resident racing game guy, Juan, what do you think about Outrun?
Well, first, I want to give a shout out to a game that I played outside of the of Outrun in the arcade. If you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Outrun in there. The gaming market I go to. Somebody actually put Outrun in that Tommy Turbo. I had that.
Tommy, the Tommy games,
remember playing that. Now that's that's better than arcade Outrun. No, but I mean, this game, I've never had the chance to play it in the arcade. I always played, ported versions of it. But the game's simple. Fun, easy. You can kind of get lost in it.
Yeah,
true.
I think I played it for like an hour. I don't know how many credits I threw in there. I just wasn't counting, but you guys already done said enough about the game. But the game is good. You know what I'm saying? I like it.
A little.
Enjoyed it.
I would possibly toss in that maybe Juan might also relate to. It's one of the first games that you learned that keeping your foot down on the pedal doesn't work. No. You wanna regulate your putting down your gas. Yeah.
Racing your friend.
It's another one that if you analyze the race tracks, especially like from easy to hard when you go through them all, it's so clever. And this is again why I think Sega are so underrated, because they lay the track out. The very first track you'll play, you've got one turn to mess up, and it's basically Sega's way of saying you're going to have to slow down or you're getting nowhere. And each layer and each subsequent track that comes, they just add more and they get a little bit trickier. And it's just really great game design. It's really that I don't think most modern games do that now. You know what I mean? They just like dump it all on you, dump a tutorial on you, dump it all on you. Where this like really nicely gradually makes you a better driver, and I think it works brilliant.
Basically, it integrates the tutorial into the gameplay. Yes. There you go.
But like it though. How they paid attention to detail. When you're going through the desert, how it kicks up sand and stuff.
Oh yeah.
The funny part that I liked about it too is when you wreck, both you guys just fucking flip out. But you
safely land outside the car.
But playing this, it reminds me of playing Cruising USA.
Oh yeah,
literally.
Cruising USA.
Well, it's inspired games like Cruising USA. It inspired games like 1980X. There's a little outrun segment in that game. There's a lot of games that this is sort of inspired and grew from this. So this was a game changer. There was nothing like it in the arcades. As you can see from the Space Harrier board to the Outrun board, you can see there's a lot more detail, a lot more, like you mentioned, with all the animation. So it did have a bit more oomph to it, and again, a bit more power in terms of the super scaling that you had there, because it's pushing a lot more assets towards you. So this is actually definitely a very immersive game, more so than Space Harrier, and I would say a lot more fair, because with Space Harrier, the issue I had with that was the sprite kind of blocked some of the items that are coming at you, some of the enemies. He's in the way, whereas this you can see. Obviously, you've got to be careful when you go up and down and whatever, and you've got the hairpin turns.
So let me ask you this. So if you were worried about the sprite in front of you, were you always leaning up? moving to the side.
Yeah, of course.
Look
Like,
around.
A little bit, yeah.
it's your instinct, you're worried. But with this, you can see the cars ahead of you, so it's a much more fairer game, and it's much more balanced, I would say, than Space Harrier. But I still love both of them. Love them.
One thing, if I can, the thing about Outrun is that it's also galaxies ahead. I did play Test Drive on DOS. That was a great game. Test Drive felt great. It felt realistic as well, but the sense of speed was not there during the DOS era. When you went to the arcades, when you saw Outrun, you felt the absolute speed. Just looking at the screen, at the action, it felt like, wow, this is galaxies ahead of Test Drive. I love Test Drive, but the moment that you saw Outrun, it just really nailed the sense of speed and exhilaration, sheer exhilaration of driving a Ferrari Testarossa. So yes, that is my comment on.
I still don't think many racing games have captured that to this day. Not the sheer speed. They've got other elements like sim elements, and some of the handling feels better and whatnot. But I think for sheer speed, I'd still probably think this is in my top 10 racing games.
Yes,
You want sheer speed? Right now, the game that I'm playing that's fucking crazy.
Which one?
Forza Horizon 6.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty good.
Forza.
That's
That's the great grandson of Outrun in spirit.
Dude, like I'm running a Mercedes, like I have it like maxed out, so like the leveling system, it's X. Dude, the moment you step on the gas, it's
Gone.
and I can't keep that bitch on the fucking road for anything.
Yeah. Dan, if you get the chance, give Forza Horizon 6 a
great,
try.
yeah.
Definitely.
I mean,
Beautiful.
Based out of Japan, like they paid attention. Honestly, like out of the Forza series, like this is the best one.
Mhm.
So right now, I'm to a point. I haven't done it yet. I think I'm gonna record it. Like I'm gonna do like a little screen capture of me racing the Gundam Mach.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
You were about to say that.
No, I think my problem is that because I'm an arcade, I was raised in arcades and I'm still an arcade gamer, is that sometimes find it hard to be patient enough to get to the point where a lot of racers give you that speed, because a lot of them you need to build up there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas that run you were straight in, straight off.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Forza is great, so I will definitely try that, mate. Forza 6.
That's true. Yeah, you start off
Before
with
we wrap up,
yes.
we wrap up, I'm gonna ask Dan a question before we wrap up.
Sure.
Up until he leaves.
All right, sounds good. Okay, now Joe, I know we needle you for the fact that you didn't do your shifting when you first tried Outrun. How about you? Have you ever had the chance to actually play the arcade? If not, what's your impression of it though? Looking at the footage.
Before me, how about your RV?
Oh, RV, yes, definitely, yes, RV.
So just for context, all these games that we're showing today, these Sega games, it's the first time I've played them. So,
there you go.
Out of all these ones, Outrun was my favorite. I think
there you go.
I put like 5-6 hours into it. I just really wanted to get to that top spot. You know how it says A, B, C, D. It took me 2 hours, but I got there. I kind of felt like Lewis Hamilton with Kim K riding shotgun. It was really, really fun.
Whoa.
Most racing games want you to finish first. Outrun just wants you to pick a song and take your Ferrari out for a spin or a crash, whichever you want. Released in 1986. That one really wasn't like about winning races. It was about the vibes, man. Designed by, I think, also designed by Suzuki.
You Suzuki, man.
You Suzuki.
You 1 for AM2. Yeah.
I got to say, I give this game a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's it. And we can say that we're the contrast here. Dan and I are the old fogies who were there during the actual era. RV is the guy who is being introduced to this for the first time. It's
a quiet boy.
Yes, he is the guy who is basically the embodiment of the timeless gamer audience. We are bringing what we had before to the generation of today. So yes, excellent. So RV is the personification of that one. And we move on to Jaw. Jaw, go ahead.
Right.
Oh, there we go.
At this point, Outrun is one of those timeless gamer show memes that we have, because it's one of those games that we always keep going back to.
That's true.
Whether we like it or not. So yeah, I played Outrun again because of this episode, sure. And I reminded me, it all reminded me, our local arcade shop also has the actual arcade of Outrun. You know, the actual
Oh,
with the actual
nice.
steering wheel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And playing this on the emulator, yeah, definitely my method of NASCAR keep going to the left does not work around here. I did
Calm down, Beyonce.
I was able to use the proper shift the shifting stick properly this time. If I'm turning if I'm turning to a corner, lay off the gas, keep it low, and then if it goes straight again, then hit it.
Yes.
Uh, I did manage to go up to stage 3 until I just gave up. Again, I suck at all these games. However, there's one thing that I'll say about this game, and I might be going to hell for saying this. When I was picking my wife from work, and there was this roadside accident on the highway. The car actually
Flipped
turned over
over.
like this, and I'm like, and I laughed all of a sudden. And she's like, why are you laughing? I'm like, I don't know. And it reminds me of Outrun. And she doesn't know what Outrun is. And like, I'm just laughing because if you, I mean, one of the good things about this game, like if you are going like 290 kilometers per hour and you hit like a car or a tree or a big boulder, chances are that Testarossa will fly, and so is you and your girlfriend. And the animation of them tumbling always so hilarious to me. I'm not sure if your RV saw that.
No.
I don't know. I mean, like, how are they still alive is beyond me. But
Video
you know,
game, it's okay. Don't take it for real. You know?
Yeah.
Because
Right?
RV didn't lay off the gas. RV was all gas, no brakes.
Oh my goodness.
no, I mean, it's like I mean, if you play this game long enough, and then you'll see like a like a roadside accident. Chances are you'll think of Outrun one way or the other.
Mm.
That's for me.
I do want to highlight RV's comment. Sorry, Ryan's comment here. The 2006 PC version has a setting that allows you to balance between game music and engine sound, almost perfect in recreating the engine sound. Which I believe Ryan might be mentioning Outrun Coast to
2006
Coast.
Coast to Coast. It might
Yes,
be
Coast to
because
Coast.
it's
Yes,
basically a
because
variant of Iron
and I
Man
can
2.
honestly say this Coast to Coast is one of the sequels that measures up to
Yeah.
the original at the
Yeah,
very least.
it's the best Outrun game.
Mhm.
Best
Yeah,
Well,
Outrun
we,
game.
agree.
we got to highlight Sir JDM's comment too. So all you people in the chat, you guys can flip your hair to the left, to the right, once or twice. You guys going to be our blondes.
Oh my
Because he
goodness!
says,
What
we the
shampoo
viewers
commercial?
are the blonde girls. That's what JDM
Shampoo
said.
commercial style. All right, so that is Outrun. RV, let's move on to the next one.
We're gonna
So-
rate it.
You know what? You know what?
Rating,
Plot
rating.
twist.
We gotta
Plot
rate it
twist.
first,
The
actually.
plot twist. The girl is actually the one who's driving.
Okay.
Well,
Hmm.
maybe she's
If
holding
it's
on to a
European- if
stick
it's in
shift,
Europe, then
but,
yes.
you know.
If it's
But
UK, then
anyway,
yes.
She's in control
They're
of
in
the shifter.
Australia.
So
Okay.
Dan,
yes,
what's-
exactly.
let's move to the ratings. Dan, what
Yes,
do you rate
rating.
this game?
Yeah, it's got to be a 10 Outrun.
Yeah.
Got to be for me.
RV?
10.
I'm saying it's a 10. What about you, Sir Joel?
Joe or me?
9.9.
You.
Me.
Joel.
11. 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
Yeah. Mhm.
Whoa. I'm gonna crank it up, with Joel. I'm gonna give it 11. I'll
Yeah,
crank that
there you
shit.
go.
You know what? I'll tell you this. The Sega Ages Switch port is an 11 if you play it. So play the
Definitely
Sega
gonna
Ages
give
Switch
that a
port.
shot.
Give
Yeah.
it a go. It's the best version of this game. The only thing that's missing is the Ferrari emblem because they didn't want to pay for the license. But it's Outrun. Yeah, that's it. What about you, Sir? What's it?
Jonas,
Bite-
there you go.
be down there. Blue Oyster Cult.
Let's call him Hat Guy. Okay.
Just call him
What's your view?
Oh,
Jay
again,
Bison.
my vote does not count because I suck at this.
Because he's
I'll give it
a
a 3.
okay, got it. Okay.
It's a 5-star winner. This one.
Okay,
there we
yes.
go.
Agreed.
Right.
All
Let's move
right.
to the next game. Let's move to the
Harvey.
next game.
Wow, and it's crazy. It's a 5-star game, but then we were having a battle between this and fucking Tasmania.
Fuck Tasmania, yeah. Fuck Jose, yeah. Fuck you for that shit. Yeah. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Tasmania, yeah, is like not even half the game that this is. You know, now you played it. You've all played it. You know now.
I think if
Tasmania.
memory served right, I think you gave Tasmania a perfect score too.
I didn't give fuck you, man. I didn't say right. Yeah, that was an abomination. I wish I'd never picked that game for the comparison now.
But you did.
I
And
did,
guess what?
unfortunately. I
Yes, you did.
did,
So you
and they
set
gave
yourself
this
up.
game.
There you
We
go.
should
All
have
right,
a-
RV. Let's move on to the next game then.
1987 Afterburner.
Yes.
Oh,
God.
Lord.
Here we go.
Fucking son of a
Afterburner 1 or
bitch.
2. Afterburner 1 or 2.
Afterburner 2, sorry.
Yeah,
Afterburner 2.
And Dan's over here with a smile on his face. He's ready to hear what we got to fucking say
Oh
about it.
God, here we go.
All right. So
Here we go.
So we follow on from we follow on from Outrun and then another Yu Suzuki thing. So we got like I call it the trilogy. Yeah, we got Outrun, so it's Space Harrier, Outrun, and Afterburner. Afterburner 2 because there was another rendition made afterwards. And the differences between Afterburner 2 and Afterburner is basically you can control the
Already
speed.
giving me a headache.
It's the speed, more stages, and enhanced sound, and that's what you got with Afterburner 2, and that's actually the quick rendition that they made. The quick fix they made. They call it Afterburner 2. This was developed on using something called the SEGA X board, okay, which is a lot more powerful than what we've seen before because it has to handle a lot more assets, a lot more power, a lot of speed. This is what Yu Suzuki wanted to make with Space Harrier, so that's what this game is, okay. Oh my God, what can I say about this game? Like this again, this goes back to when we talked about Sega. Oh my God. You see, this guy
Dude, you're gonna
Man,
get
what the hell?
You just get used to it. You're gonna get roasted.
I'm so glad when he's back from paternity leave and it's all this like breastfeeding his child that's made him go crazy, yeah? He's back from
Wow.
paternity leave, words.
Wow.
Anyway, this game, if you love Top Gun, you love this game. And again, it's Sega sort of resonating with the culture of the time because Top Gun was coming out that year. Was it an 87 picture? I can't remember.
86, I think.
86. So this just came out after the year after. And again, obviously, they don't want to pay for the license, right? Konami did that for the NES. But we can make this, and this is Top Gun. This is the true Top Gun, right? That's what I'll say. Amazing music as well with Final Takeoff and the Afterburner theme song, Red Out. And again, you got that great soundtrack that just lasts while you're just
But it
flying.
ain't Danger Zone though, man. It ain't Danger Zone.
Well, it's not. You know,
Danger
someone's done a ROM hack. Someone's done a ROM hack where they can do Danger Zone is the background music for this game if you really feel that way. But that
Hell yeah,
aside,
dude.
that aside, this game is just like it's just full on action from when you go. You got missiles. You got an arsenal of missiles. You got your Vulcan cannon. You can go fast. You can go slow. You got an auto lock. You use your missiles to fire. Again, you have to be very strategic with how many missiles you're using because you only got so many until you get a refuel section at a few stages later on. You got to dodge missiles as well because they're shooting at you as well. So you've got to make sure you're at the right speed. You also got enemies coming from that behind as well. So you got like a dogfight with something coming behind you, and you got like a missile that's coming. You got to be quick with evasive maneuvers. This game is crazy. This game is mad. I absolutely love this game. Afterburner 2 on the Mega Drive, the 32X, which was again 1-to-1 arcade perfect. I would say the 32X one. Brilliant game. What do you think, Sedan? You obviously got something to say about this, and I know you like this game, so let's go.
Well, let me just preface this by saying the drugs are kicking in a bit, so I might be a bit hyper.
Yeah.
But this is the best arcade game ever made. Easy. Easy. It is the fucking most excitingest. When you sit in that cab and you play this, I've never been excited by it over 30 years, which is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? You think you're bound to get bored of a game at some point, and this you don't. It's just so intense from start to finish, and it just grabs you by the balls and runs as far and as fast as you can with it. And I just find it amazing. I think the superscalar formula, you could see the evolution from Space Harrier to Outrun to Afterburner.
The X-Board.
It just has that key element of the near misses from the missiles, and the enemy patterns again are fantastic, and it just hooks me every time, absolutely every time. And being sat in the cab, feeling that moving around and being immersed in the game with the actual joystick, with the gear shifts, are fantastic. So to me, I'm always amazed when I see these greatest ever games lists, and this isn't on there.
Yeah.
And I know that's because a lot of journalists haven't experienced it, but it is, as far as mind-blowing experiences go, that have the gameplay and structure and excitement to back it up. This is it. This is the most exciting game I've ever played.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I like this game so much. When the Mega Drive Mini 2 was launched, and they said Afterburner 2 would be on there, and when I saw Yusuke Kanare show this in the conference, which was the Cyber Stick, which is the premium, this actually cost more than the Mini to play it on. The best way to play this game, like at home recently, is Afterburner 2 on the Mega Drive with this stick, because it's such an immersive experience. So immersive. And I remember you made a point about the smoke trails in this train and why you prefer the Mega Drive version to the 32X. You can see the enemies easier and it makes it much more playable. And I totally agree with you in that regard, because it is much more immersive experience. But you also had you had so many different arcade ports, not just the 32X, we also had the Saturn version as well with Sega Ages Volume 1, which is 1-to-1. And obviously we had other ports on other systems after that, and even before that we had the Master System port, which was amazing for its time for this. So many ports of this game, because it was actually it was a big deal. I know it's not as well known as compared to its predecessors, because they were revolutionary, with Space Harrier being the first of its kind and something that has its simplicity. Yes, Outrun appealed to most people because everybody loved the Ferrari and everybody drives. So it's Top Gun. Yes, you got a sort of, it's a war game, and you sort of have to get through the base. Obviously, you got the bonus stage where you blow the bases up, and you get that, and as well as that. But I guess it added much more complexity compared to the other two. Yeah. But that being said, it was an absolute joy to play, and they made, I think, there's a Sega CD version Afterburner 3. So there was that one with the Super Scan. I think that sort of damaged it a bit, and I think there was like this era of they had little sequels to Afterburner 2, which didn't quite hit the mark. I think that might have had something to do with it, other than Afterburner Climax, which is a true sequel. That's the one you played. But no, I think I absolutely love this game. That's what I'm going to say.
I don't think a week's gone by since this was released that I've not played a version on a system, and I usually go to Afterburner 2 on the Mega Drive, because like Viraj says, they've made some gameplay tweaks on that just make it a little bit smoother and easier to get to grips with. It is just constant excitement.
I agree with that. The first maybe 20 minutes, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There was like so much, but like I was telling Raj before you came on, like with this game, if you're not using the joystick to play, it's a pain in the ass. Because I was emulating and I was using the controller, so trying to move it with with a thumbstick, like it's a pain in the ass. So I mean, I died a lot for the first 20 minutes until I got the hang of it. But after that, no, the game was fun. I want to play it some more. But what's funny though with this is like at the beginning you're flying through a fucking town, like really, like so damn low, blow them bitches up too.
I just want to show Miss I something, because she asked a question about this controller. You have the ability to switch it from reverse and normal, so you can sort of take the inverse. You can also switch this around if you're left-handed, so it actually offers a lot of
cool
things that you can do that. So the Cyber Stick is an outstanding.
So you just can't flip it upside down and play it backwards.
Well, I don't know if I'll do that,
because I'm a lefty. So that's why I feel like I have an advantage too with games, like with movement when it comes to left joystick. Like I can just maneuver around all good.
I wouldn't do that personally, but yeah, if you want to do it, go for it. Knock yourself out. But
okay, why not? YOLO.
So Joel, what do you think of this game? So Joel,
all right. So yes, I completely agree. This is the top of the top games, one of the top of the top arcade games. Again, it plays into the full body experience. When you go into an arcade and you sit in the cab, you're not just watching the action happen, you're in the action. And like Viraj says, 1980s Top Gun. This was Top Gun. Everybody loved Top Gun, although I have to say something very controversial. In movie terms, I like Iron Eagle better than Top Gun.
Yeah.
I like Iron Eagle more as a movie than Top Gun. But this one, the game itself, is in essence Top Gun, the video game. So
there is actually, sorry, I just want to mention, there is actually on the Sega Mega Drive version a little bit of a cheat where if you hold the pad down and the right button at the right time, you get little Top Gun messages come up.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out. So yes, this one really, no tutorial. Yeah, I mean there is a 5-second tutorial possibly, but you're thrown right into the action. You enjoy it because I mean we're kids, we're 80s kids. We throw out manuals, we jump in, we play with
I
things
say, was
right
that
off
the
the bat.
Ferrari from Outrun?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a cameo for the Ferrari from Outrun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's instinct for us because we it's integrated in us the very notion of play right from the early onset of our childhoods. We knew what play was, and this really does say, all right, go play, enjoy yourself. Sure, it's tactical. Sure, you have to be very careful about how you expend your missiles, how you maneuver your plane, how you position your firing and everything, but the very core, the distilled essence of play definitely is in this game. So yes, Afterburner 2, I completely agree with Dan. In an arcade, it is a spectacle when you go and see it being played. Heck, you're really lucky if you get to play it and experience it from beginning to end. Really, honestly, this one must play. 100%.
Well, I mean, you guys want to see how crazy it is in the video that's being played? Just look at the top right hand corner. Look at that gyro. Look how all over the place it is.
I know.
Like,
That's
You have
true.
to be
if that's
quick.
making
You've
you
gotta be
sick,
quick.
try playing it.
Oh yeah.
But it's simulating, like, let's be honest, these fighter pilots have to go through G-forces on top of this.
No.
And you have to be at the top of your game, and this is simulating that to some degree. You have
it
to
was
be
also
quick.
shown
Do
in
you
Top Gun
wanna-
Maverick. Mhm.
So, like, if you guys want to have it, like, it's more newer consoles now, current gen. Like, if you guys want to play something that's gonna fucking really throw you off, play what the fuck is that game? Ace Combat.
Ace Combat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In
Right,
fucking
yeah.
VR, you are
Yeah.
really gonna learn a lot about your equilibrium and how fucking
Another
sick you
great
can get.
grandson of a classic game, Afterburner.
Yeah.
Ace Combat is the great grandson
Afterburner
of that.
walks, or Ace Combat could fly. I'll say that much.
Mhm.
I've
True.
got
I
Ace
just-
Combat VR. It's really good.
I just want to talk about the board that's used. Now, it used what's called the Sega X board, which is a step up from what we had before with the Outrun hardware. The board was quite successful because we had 10 titles that were used on this. So you had AB Cop, obviously you had the 2 Afterburner games. You had Caribbean Boulet, which is like a horse betting game. That's what it looks like. You had GP Rider, Last Survivor, Line of Fire, Racing Hero, Super Monaco GP, and Thunderblade was also on that board as well. So Sega utilized this technology for other great titles. And so Dan, you've probably heard of these games if you're familiar with arcade games. You can't really go wrong. So definitely a great piece of hardware that was on there. I just want to know what the rating is before we go there. What do you rate this game as, Sir Dan? What's the
Mate,
rating?
what 5,000 out of 10. It's like I say to me. I played a lot of arcade games, a lot of games in general. Best arcade game ever.
It's going to be 10. Yeah.
11 out of 10 for me, no problem.
What about you, RV?
Yeah, no. Just quickly, Afterburner Afterburner 2 was really good. Like one said, if you want to play a similar game, Ace Combat, which I have in VR, it kind of took me back to that. It kind of made me feel like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. I always wanted to be like a fighter pilot, but without going through, the military training or the fitness test or the small inconvenience of being shot at. Thank you, sir. It was a lot of fun. I mean,
But you want to know what would be good? Okay, so I mean, on the topic of Ace Combat, what would be good to play this game to get an actual feel as a pilot is those Core FX fucking haptic feedback vests. So if you're wearing that and playing fucking Ace Combat, dude, and you get shot, you're gonna feel it. You're like, oh, there's your training right there, right? Just a smidge of what they feel.
I gave this. It's a very simple game. Fly forward, shoot everything, and dodge missiles. Try not to get hit by enemies. I gave this a 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10. I just want to shout out to Sir Richard. He also said the last game released in the series was Afterburner Climax using the Sega Lindbergh. Same platform used for initial D arcade series. Played this once and it was too fast for me. Trivia, getting all first place in Power Drift, another Sega racing game, unlocked aircraft in this game. There you go. Thank you, Sir Ryan.
I think just what I want to mention that I've just seen on that has reminded me is that from my history, obviously, so you played Space Harrier in '85, then Outrun, and this come out 2 years later. So your focus was completely on what was in front of you. And then suddenly on Afterburn, when you get to stage around 7 or 8, you get this missile come behind you. And that just kind of was such a spin on its head moment of like, flipping heck now, I've got to watch, what's coming up. And then you get a plane come to shoot you from behind. And then you get a missile and a plane. So again, it was just layered superbly, fantastically.
Richard also said, just recalled another trivia, you can unlock the Afterburner skin in Ace Combat 7 as a friendly nod to Sega and their contribution to their game in the arcade platform. So there you go. Thank you again, Sir Richard.
That's the one that has VR7. Dude, Ace Combat's got so many damn games, lost track. But yeah, number 7 and also 2, you know what I'm saying? For you Top Gun fans can also go download the DLC. Yeah, Top Gun Maverick stuff in it.
I played Ace Combat years. Like there's quite an early version I played. Which would you say is the best one to do now? Because I know they've got quite a lot. I think they've got to 7, aren't they now? I think
7, yeah. 8's coming out.
7 has the Top Gun Maverick DLC. So if you wanted to feel as close as possible to Top Gun, I guess that would be the one to try.
All you got to do is go wear some tight jeans and a white T-shirt and roll it up with your pack of cigarettes, bro. And there you go. I mean, when it comes to picking through Ace Combat, though, Dan, dude, they're all good.
Yeah.
Anything, and like for me, any game that has to do with any kind of jets and stuff, and and fighting, shooting, and launching missiles, like they're all good. But if I'm gonna pick a game that's actually really good, Tom Clancy Hawks.
Hawks was good. Yes, agreed. Tom Clancy's Hawks was good. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, so we wanted your ratings, Sir Joel.
Oh, another one of the 11 out of 10 games. There's two things that you have to worry about with this is, again, it distills the pure essence of play. Two things to do: you shoot the bad guys, you stay alive.
So look at that. It's Tom Cruise right there.
Pure things.
It's Maverick.
Yeah, there's that. Very true. So yes, Afterburner 2, definitely a game experience in its full glory, kind of like Galaxy Force 2. You really can't feel how magnificent that game is, Galaxy Force 2, without the gigantic arcade cab that moves around and floats and everything. That one is great, honestly. Another one of the 11 out of 10 games that I can toss in. But yes, that's going to be a discussion for another time. There you go.
All right, so I think that leaves Mr. Sir Joe in the corner there, being quiet like a good little boy.
Well, you know what he's gonna say. He's gonna say that his opinion doesn't count because he sucks at this one too.
Yeah, he's gonna say I beat it first time. It's a piece of piss. You lot of crap.
Yeah. He's even got I got the flight cap as well. That's what that is.
Oh, there you go.
No, he's gonna say he activated all the cheats.
That's what that is.
All the cheats. All the cheats. He activated.
Am I even allowed to say anything bad about this game? Okay. Inverted control. Enough said. Okay, inverted controls. You know how how I feel about inverted controls, right? But then again, this ain't Sky Destroyer. But again, for what this game did for the gaming culture, all right, for its contributions, for all of you guys who really are hankering for the Need for Speed, this is one of those earlier games that is available out there. Okay, if you can even find it, if you can still find an arcade shop that has Afterburner, like, play it. I mean, seriously, like, this is one of those games that really simulate, just like Outrun and Space Harrier. This is one of those games that really simulate the actual speed. Not necessarily up to scale, but a real speed in terms of like flying like an actual aircraft. I mean, sure. I mean, it's not like you can shift the camera into first person, but playing this on the arcade and it's really, really going away really, really fast. A lot of things. I mean, and then it took me a while to notice that there's also enemies. There's enemy bogies. What's the term? There are bogies right behind me, right at my 6.
Yes.
That's the term. Bogies at my 6. I didn't know that.
And you're 3.
That's why
and you're 9.
That's why I'm not just veering to the left all the time. I'm doing up and down, up and down, up and down, just to make sure that I'm avoiding all of those enemy missiles. Every once in a while,
Your favorite gesture to look at.
Yeah, I was able to reach up to stage 14 without even really trying
Oh,
that
that's
well.
good.
And stage 28, really? This game? Wow. Okay, sure.
Well, I think
But hey, Afterburner 2.
one of the things that Dan, I think, that is really plays to the strength of this game. The strength of this game is that you are riding that edge. You know that any single moment that you make one bad move, you're done. You're because all like Juan says, the danger comes from every single direction, and one miscalculated move, one bad move, one wrong directional glitch of the joystick, you're gone with that life. So, yes, unlike Outrun or unlike Space Harrier, well, Space Harrier does still have that, the one hit kill, but still, the fact is you are riding the edge at every single second of this game. So that's the exhilaration of it. Would you say?
The later stages where the enemy patterns are again they're really intertwined to make you watch everything, feel everything, and you have to dominate the screen. When you see them little dots in the far off, you have to take half of them out, or you won't survive it. And that tightness, like I say, that makes a hell of a difference.
Brilliant game. It was definitely a step in the right direction for Sega that put them on the map. All these three games: Space Harrier, Outrun, and Afterburner. Yeah, and Sega needed to be seen to really compete in this market, and it really cemented them as being the champions of the arcade. These three games. So these were their Super Scalar trilogy. Obviously, it was Super Hang On and many others as well that came on afterwards. But these three were definitely the pinnacle of what I would say in terms of experience game genre, and that stood out. You go to an arcade, you see these games, people go to them, and they looked so much more graphically enhanced than what you saw around it at the time. That's not to say that the other Sega games that came alongside it were anything to be sniffed at. Definitely not. Definitely not. The president of Sega at the time, Hayao Nakayama, he was hardware crazy. Okay, and he was the one who decided to go with the SG-1000, the Mark II, Mark III, and he really did want to compete in a home marketplace. And he was all about bringing the arcade home, and that's what the Mark V hardware is. The Mega Drive is bringing the arcade home based on what was called System 16 technology. And that was a revolutionary arcade board. You had System 16 A and B, and we'll move on to the next game, which employs Sega System 16A. I just want to ask, do you want to take a break now and we'll continue with System 16 after this? Yes.
It might be a good time to take a break. Yes.
All right, so let's do that. We'll take a break and we'll continue talking about Sega's greatness in the arcade. Let's go.
Do you like playing video games? Do you like reading about history? Do you like learning about video game history? Then you should give yourself the gift of owning some video game history books from BitMap. Since 2014, BitMap Books have published numerous colorful and well-detailed hardbound books about video games ranging from the different video game consoles of old and the various video game genres that will surely pique the interest of its core fanbase. BitMap's team of global video game journalists, players, and illustrators have produced numerous award-winning titles that celebrate the software, hardware, and developers that laid down the foundations for the billion-dollar video game industry we all know and love today. International shipping is also available with careful and considerate packaging from BitMap Books. If you don't want to take my word for it, then you can believe the people, almost 10,000 satisfied customers who submitted their glowing written reviews and video reviews after receiving their books from BitMap. By ordering your first BitMap book using our link, you will also be supporting the Timeless Gamers Show in spreading our love of video games and their rich history. Start your own online live streams, webinars, podcasts, online classes, and virtual presentations with Streamyard. By using Streamyard's user-friendly interface, you can also do simultaneous multi-streaming if you have accounts to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms. If live streaming is not your style, video and audio recordings are also available, especially with those who have variable and inconsistent internet connections. The finished output will still come out as clear and well articulated exactly as you originally intended. You can also customize the appearance of your presentation, like green screen effects, facial touch-ups to smoothen out those facial blemishes, multiple cameras for multiple guests joining in the discussion, your own wallpaper on the background, adding your own logo as a watermark, sharing videos from your own computer or other website for added visual aids with or without audio, uploading your own background music if you wish to set the mood when talking, and lots more. Before you can enjoy all of the wonderful full features of StreamYard, you can start with a 14-day free trial by using our link. Not only that you are supporting the Timeless Gamers Show, but you can see it for yourself how easy it is using StreamYard.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Right, so
spatial audio, like it sounds amazing because I was like walking around the house and like,
Oh, very
like
cool.
I can hear Joe's like, deep tone voice is bassy in my right ear, and I turn, it goes to the left side.
Ah, that is nice. I like that.
I like
Very cool.
all right.
Sorry, Brush.
Okay, so we're going to talk
I was
about...
gonna do Blue Steel, but I was spinning in circles when we came back.
So the next game is oh yes, right. So the game in question is Shinobi. 1987. Sega System 16 is also on the Sega System.
God.
So again,
now.
I mean, the System 16A hardware again was phenomenal for what it was, and it led on to System 16B, which is basically what Sega decided to think. Obviously, this board was created in '86. And they decided to go and make a console around it called the Mega Drive, and it led to that. And there's a differences between System 16A and B, but we'll touch on that later. This is Shinobi 1987, right? The first game. Now, this game is just, simplistic in what it is. Basically, you play as Joe Musashi, this ninja, taking out the evil Neo-Z, criminal organization syndicate in the city. It was an upright arcade cab. You pretty much got Joe Musashi, you got two buttons, and you have to go through the city saving the hostages, taking out the bad guys, and fighting the boss at the end of the level. It operated on sort of dodging attacks, using your sword when you get up close. Obviously, you've got your shurikens where you can shoot at the bad guys as well. You get a power up as well, so you get like a gun, like a missile type gun where you can just take someone out.
Yeah, that was a cheat.
Yeah. It's a very strategic game. Okay, that's the sum of it. A very, very, very easy to get into game. Okay, and that's what I will say about this. What do you think, Sedan? What were your thoughts on this particular game?
Well, I mean, Shinobi is my favorite gaming series, and this is what started it. So again, it really stood out because I remember playing arcade games like Green Beret, that were like of a similar style.
Yeah,
but again, Sega's level design and enemy pattern design was of a different class. And I'd actually say that if there's any indie developers out there that are making a platformer or a platform-orientated action game like this, this is something they should study because it's just laid really clever. I mean, you like Viraj says, it's strategic. You really have to think about how you position yourself, how you jump, how you take things off, and that weren't that common back then. That weren't, everything were a lot more simplistic. Just jump, move, and all that. So Shinobi's depth really started to flesh this style of game out, and it had me all straight off.
I mean, one thing I also want to add as well, and I mentioned how Sega were hardware mad, but also in terms of their artistry and the attention to detail for the 16-bit games they put out there, none of the rivals could I mean, you mentioned Green Beret, a great game in its own respect, but in terms of the detail and the way it looked, In terms of like you got Marilyn Monroe's post on the wall there. You've got some extra little things in this game as well. You have this bonus stage, so you've also got a bit of scaling that was sort of implemented. It's actually not really scaling technology in there. It's just very clever programming in this bonus stage section. We have to take out all the ninjas, in the little sections there to get the extra points. Or is it an extra life you get? I can't remember now. And it had an amazing Master System port as well at the time, and that was on 8-bit hardware.
Yeah.
But, I think in terms of the graphics, the way it looked, it obviously got a nice little effect there. There was nothing like that with any of Sega's competitors at the time, and I think Sega really, we talk about super scaling the graphics and how it looked. Even in the system 16-bit technology with the arcades, they stood out from all the rest. Whenever Sega would put a new game out, you're thinking, wow, this is really good. And you just look at what they were doing at that time, it's hit after hit after hit. And this is, well, I wouldn't even say this is where it started, but this is definitely one that was a top build game that I can totally get into and totally appreciate for what it was.
I think that as an arcade game as well, this is one of the most beatable for people who aren't used to beating it, because it is all about the patterns, and there's not many skanky bits in this. There's that third book, Mandara, where you have to be on your button. He takes a bit of beating.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, even if you're not that skilled react wise or as a, you can learn this and beat it within its practice.
Definitely. So Joel, what was your thoughts on this particular game? What do you think?
Well, again, to Dan's point, definitely I don't even know how to say this. The fact that the arcade games that we have gone through is so reflective of 80s culture. We're talking like Top Gun. We're talking the Miami
Three
Vice
Ninjas is what this reminds me of.
Three Ninjas for you? Okay. For me, yes, with Space Harrier, we're talking about the tail end of the Star Wars era. We're talking about the Empire Strikes Back and everything like that. But this one does touch so much into the Shokosugi 1980s ninja film craze back then. Everybody wanted to be a ninja. Yes, absolutely. I had ninja books. I read through the history of ninjas.
I'm a ninja day in, day out.
There you go. Well, that's it.
Oh, wow.
So that's
you can hold on before I'm not cutting you out.
Sure.
You can literally jump in the water. I did not. I was avoiding the water the whole time.
That's the thing. So this does play into the culture back then of 1980s ninja culture, because in the martial arts, sure, there was kung fu theater where everybody wanted to try kung fu back in the 70s, and Bruce Lee. But this one, the 80s, was so emblematic of how everybody wanted to be a ninja, and Shinobi did that in spades. Because when you play the game, you are a ninja. You feel like you are, well, shall we say, for lack of a better comparison, you are in the shoes of Shokosugi, but in this case, it's Joe Musashi. And yes, you get to throw shurikens. You use your sword as your. It's not even a katana. It's a ninja sword. That's shortened sword. It's you fight against bad guys. You rescue helpless kids. Honestly, it's an 80s kid's dream come true. And of course, my reflexes might not be as good anymore, and I might not be as good with this game anymore. But I do remember a time way back when this would be my jam, and this would just be the fact that I would say that this is peanuts for me. I can nail all these guys very quickly. Shadow Dancer on the Sega Genesis was in the same vein, which is, I believe, a sequel, if I remember correctly. Dan, right? And Barrage, yes. So yes, if you want
an arcade game as well. There's
was it? Okay.
Because the Genesis game is different to the arcade version.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
They're different level layouts.
I'll have to try the arcade ROM of Shadow Dancer.
But I will say this. It's the first. I would say it's very rare that this happens, but I would say the Mega Drive version is better than the arcade.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's rare that this happens, but the Mega Drive game is better. But give the arcade. It's not terrible. The arcade game is interesting. He's obviously got his dog Yamato, and he goes after the hostages. But the game did evolve, obviously, beyond this. So they did. What I love about Shadow Dancer is they stepped up the notch and they added different gameplay tropes to it. It's still fundamentally saving the hostages in different scenarios, but there's a lot more to it because he's got a dog now. And there's a lot more different enemy styles and different attacks that they can do. So it is a very worthwhile sequel worth playing on both Genesis and the arcade version, which is also available on the Astro City Mini. We've got Shinobi and its sequel. It's on here. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Well, yeah. That's my main takeaway from this. All the arcade games that we've gone through are so are just embody the 80s. Just you just love. I'm sorry to have to say this. Everybody, use Gen Zers, you millennials, and everything. You boomers and all that. The 80s were the best. Sorry to have to say this, but you guys, you're just gonna have to step aside. The
Sorry,
80s
man.
kids, we were,
I wish I mean, I came in late 80s, so I can't, I mean, I
Oh,
can
you're
use
still
that
counted.
term.
You're still counted. Don't worry about it. You're still part of it. Yeah.
That to me, that is what Sega's soul was about to me, and that's what I connected with, because you, like I said, you look at Space Harrier, it's Flash Gordon, Star Wars,
Yes, Flash
sci-fi.
Gordon, Star Wars.
You look at Afterburner, Top Gun, Outrun, Miami, Shinobi, various ninja things, right back from Bruce Lee, Golden Axe, Conan the Barbarian, Crackdown, Bond. Do you know what I mean? And we basically, it was, here's the films you're watching. Now here's the games which let you be them people in the film. And that's another reason why when people were playing stuff like Donkey Kong, I was like, yeah, I'm not saying it's not a bad game, but I don't want to be a gorilla. What's all that about? Do you know what I mean? So
damn dirty ape. But no, I agree with what you're saying, Dan. It definitely did let you sort of play out the 80s in terms of game format for sure. But yeah, you're right. You mentioned earlier before when I asked you, this is your favorite game series, which is really interesting because obviously you had this was ported to the Master System, but then you had that I call it the Mega Drive trilogy that is really there, which is Revenge of Shinobi, which is the console sequel to this. Which you made me. Well, I played with the Mega Masters channel, and I love that game. That's my favorite Shinobi game. But then you have like obviously Shadow Dancer and obviously Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master. But let's not forget like there are other Shinobi games. You had Alex Kidd. He even had that in Shinobi World, and then you had you had the Game Gear Shinobis, which were its own thing, and they were great. There was the Cyber Shinobi, but I try not to talk about that game.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and obviously there's the Sega Saturn Shinobi game with the digitized graphics, and there was obviously Shinobi on PlayStation 2, and obviously there's Shinobi on 3DS, but this is the newest one, Vengeance. So I know you have your reservations about it, but I beat this game just the other week. Absolutely love it. Would strongly recommend it.
I know. I missed the pre-order for that from Limited Run.
Remind me, Dan, did this have the mystical aspect to it, the magical spells and everything? The first
yeah.
one?
So when you play the bonus stages, that's when you gain your spells.
That's
and
right.
then you can use them as and when you see fit. You see, just something that Viraj mentioned there is that what I've got a very special connection with this, because the Master System game was a great port, but it was a fair bit slower. And that was actually the game that kind of taught me how to break enemy patterns down as a kid to like a fine detail, because it made me realize that if you just slow the action down a bit and you pay attention to certain things, that when it's all coming at you really fast and you think flipping out, that's everything's happening. On the Master System version, you had more time to react to that. So it was great for you learned the Master System version, then you went to the arcades and it was a lot easier, and so that was a real great thing again Sega did.
So what you're saying then is that this game taught you how to save damsels in distress. You know what?
They're a bit young. They're a bit young, to be fair. But I think Revenge of Shinobi's damsel were a bit more my style, to be fair.
No, this game though, dude, I've never played the arcade version of Shinobi. So like the first time I got into Shinobi was the Revenge of Shinobi, and
that's my favorite.
Revenge of Shinobi, like just the Shinobi series is my number 2 favorite series for Sega.
Nice one.
But this one, just playing it reminded me a lot of Rolling Thunder too. Just the movement and leaping from platform to platform and stuff like that.
eSWAT is Sega's Rolling Thunder, eSWAT, but yeah.
This part right here, I didn't have the power up to fucking do it, so I was stuck here for a while.
That's the film. That's
the Shoryukens.
Yeah.
That Mandara filters a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
He
so
makes a resurrection.
Like, how the fuck do I get? How do I get back? How do I get back? That was my thing.
Yeah.
But hands down, I enjoyed the fuck out of playing this game the time that I did. I didn't finish it, but I'm gonna go back and finish this one.
Yeah.
But hands down though, hands down, like I said, a good game, like I said, just reminding me, like I said, of Rolling Thunder, and like I said, it being an arcade version, like it was challenging too. I got stuck. I had to use a lot of credits to kind of come back.
If you
Well,
like
Bryce.
Rolling Thunder, play eSWAT. Because that is Sega's answer to Rolling Thunder. And the arcade version, again, is different to the Sega Mega Drive version. And again, the Mega Drive version is the better version of eSWAT. There's also an eSWAT on Master System as well. So there's 3 different versions of it. But it's the Mega Drive version of eSWAT you want to check out.
And Metal Gear Solid got me prepared for this bonus stage. Because I mean, if you double tap the buttons, you'll throw the shurikens even faster. So I'm just fucking back and forth. Bam, tossing them. But all I gotta say is, we're going to go into the 90s on this statement. But the greatest ninja of all time is Haru. Bam. And if you guys don't know where that's from, you guys need to do your research.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Wow, there you go.
Whatever, man.
Haru
Joe Musashi from Shinobi is the greatest, because in Revenge of Shinobi, he took on
It was a
Batman,
joke, bro.
he took on Spider-Man, he took on Godzilla, he took on Rambo. I mean, come on, man.
Terminator.
My favorite is Raffaello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Knowing what his name was, it brought me back to a PS1 game, Brave Fencer Musashi. I was like, I was trying to get in the mindset of that.
Yeah, Joe Musashi. Yeah. This game,
but hands down, just phenomenal. I loved it. Play it more.
What I'll say is, this game walked so Tenchu could fly. So even now we've got Ghost of Tsushima. This is the original. This is the one. You know what I mean? This is the OG. You know what I mean? So I will say this is great. And obviously, for those of you who haven't played it yet, give Art of Vengeance a go. You can get this cheap now on Steam if you want to play it.
It's on sale right now on the PlayStation Store for
play it, man. It's awesome. Just play it.
I'm going to. It was either that or we're going to borrow it from my brother.
Yeah. I know it's a pain, because Sega. Well, it's a pain they didn't make this a physical release yet. I hope they do make a proper physical one. Sega just made a few mistakes.
Well, because I was looking for it. Like, my brother was like, he's like, don't forget to get it, and I fucking lost track of time.
I'm still waiting for my special edition pack, because I got this. They sent the game out, but I'm getting the statue and all that other stuff. I'm still waiting. Apparently next month it will come out. Bloody hell, it takes a year with
it wasn't all in one. That sucks.
No, they sent it separate. They said we're going to send it separately because it's going to take us a while to get the soundtrack CD and all this other crap that they're making. But whatever, man. Let's see. But limited run games, they'll deliver. But I'll be.
Well, because the last collector I got from limited run was Streets of Rage 4. It came all in once.
I got the signature version that came out in Europe. So if I can avoid limited run, there's a special edition another company in Europe will publish. I'll do it for the same game. It's still a physical. But
if you ever come across another physical copy in your travels in your game shows, do let me
know. I will. I can get this. Don't worry. If you want it, I'll get it. It's just, is it a Switch edition you want or the PlayStation one? What do you want?
Either. It doesn't matter. Either or.
All right.
Whatever you get your hands on first. Honestly, because on the Switch, I can take it with me. Yeah. But if I get on the PlayStation, then I can grind and get my achievements and shit and my trophies.
No worries. It's all right. Okay, so let's move on to the next game. Shall we rate this first? So Dan, what's your rating on Shinobi?
No input on Joe.
Give it a 9, just for the simple fact that the formula improves as the games go on, and I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic game, but I think Revenge and Shinobi 3 take it to an all other level.
Yeah, they do. I agree with you on that.
What about you? I agree with them too. You know what I'm saying? But granted, for it where it first started, you know what I'm saying, and it being an arcade, it was actually phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I'll give this game a 10 out of 10.
Oh, we're giving it a 10. Okay, we've got a 10. What about you, RV? Retro Vibes, what are your rating on this Shinobi game?
So again, first time I played this. I'm not too good at platformer games. I did give this a really good crack though. I got to say the controls are not too bad. I gave it a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10. But yeah, definitely. I enjoyed the other games more, like the one that we're going to be talking about soon, the motorbiking game. I love that one so much.
Oh, man. Okay.
How far did you get in this one, mate?
I believe I spent a couple hours. I think it was like level 4 or 5. I believe. Yeah. But again, like I said, I'm not very good. My hands are not very good at the platformer games anymore, to be honest.
You see more practice. You're not that old yet. Look at the old guys next to you. So, Joel, your thoughts on this game?
Again.
Wait, so Harvey, you have to rate it. Sorry, you didn't rate it, Harvey.
Oh, you did.
Oh, you did. Oh, yeah, you gave it 8 out of 10. Sorry, I'm deaf.
Yes.
So, Joel, go on.
See, look,
Yeah. As a ninja fanatic, I'm super biased, and I really just I really just can't give it a score lower than 9 out of 10. And the one missing one is for me because of the fact my reflexes are terrible. So yeah, even back then I really couldn't get very far through it. But yes, I'm sorry, but it's just the fact that we are so connected to the culture of the 80s and how close it was all integrated, both in books and video games and movies and everything. It all played to who we loved, to who we are, who we were, and what we love. Ninjas, sorry, will always get 100% from me. I'm just knocking it off 1 point because of my own damn reflexes. So yes, 9 out of 10.
Ooh, okay. What about you, Juan? Huh? What do you say about this game?
I give it I said it already. After Dan, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I got selective.
Okay, there you go.
And what about this one?
Of course you do.
Wait, he's looking intensively at me. What's going on? He's like,
and for Jaw, Jaw.
Yeah, what's going on? We're snapping.
Oh no, I'm just watching at the gameplay. I'm just so amazed how easy this guy makes it look. Okay. I spent like a good couple of hours until I was able to reach Lobster, level 4, first scene, and I'm like, and it dawned on me. I didn't realize that you can actually use the sword. I'm like, how the hell are you using the sword? Because all this time, I'm like, all I keep doing is just the shurikens, and every once in a while, him punching and kicking. I'm like, how the hell he uses the sword? And it's a weird game because sometimes you can bump into enemies, but whenever you're close enough to the actual enemy ninjas, if you go close enough, you'll die in one hit because of their swords. And I'm like, dude, you have a sword too. Use that shit. And although it's one of those games that eventually I learned to, you don't have to keep going forward. Every once in a while, you have to track back so that you might be able to lead some of the enemies away from the other crowd, and take them out one by one. And sometimes you don't even have to take them all of them at once. Just ignore most of them until you reach the until you reach the end of the stage. Eventually, you'll still go in.
Yeah.
Dan needs to play this one,
Ninja Golf.
Ninja Golf, yeah. 7800. Just goes to show how much of a ninja fanatic I am. So there you go.
I'll give this game a 9.
Nice.
Just to throw it out there, because I'll tell you my issue with this game that I think that it can be quite cheap in some areas. It can be very cheap in some areas, and it is in many respects. I could argue it's more unforgiving than the Revenge of Shinobi in some areas, because it is literally you get touched, you're dead. So it's just does have a very strong difficulty curve, and that's what I'll say about it. And you make a very valid point earlier, Dan, about the Master System version being a lot more playable because it's slower. This is a very fast arcade game. I do think that it's a bit cheap in certain areas, and it is there to take your money if you're not good, and that's what it will do. That's what it's designed for to some extent, I feel. But I wouldn't say it does give the punter a chance. I'll say it does give you a bit of a chance on this one, but it's after you burn a lot of credits into it. So that's my sort of main bugbear with it. I think this is a bit unforgiving. Like, look at this guy, man. He's coming at you like, so you understand what I mean. So yeah, System 16A was the board that was used on this thing. And other games that were on the same board that they used was Action Fighter, which was in 86, which is like a top-down shooter game, which is actually something that's on the Astro City Mini V that I also had. You got Alex Kidd and Lost Stars, Body Slam, Fantasy Zone, SDI, obviously Shinobi is on it, Sukuban Jansi Ryoko, Tetris, Time Scanner, and Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair. So you had quite a lot of names that lent themselves to the System 16A board. Now we're going to move on to the next game, because we spent quite a lot of time on this one as well. The next game is Golden Axe. All right, System 16B, taking things to the next level. All right, take it to the next level. Now, what's the difference between System 16A and B? You'll see it. This is a perfect example of the evolution from even the same board having some extra assets to it, and how much of a game changer this game was. Now, this is a game that's very near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first Mega Drive games I played. And this is another example of actually the console version's better than the arcade. It's weird how like that. There's 3 games on the Mega Drive that are better than the arcade: eSWAT, Shadow Dancer, and Golden Axe. But I can elaborate on that later if someone asks me. But Golden Axe, again, this is classic 80s swords and sorcery we're looking at now. That's the sort of world that we're in. Conan the Barbarian was the inspiration of this baby. Again, as you look at the graphics here, you've got a lot more detail in terms of color. You have a much more better soundboard, which
Nice.
but you also have the ability to scale. Obviously, we've got a babe. You also have the ability to scale up and down along the level. So you haven't got like one single sort of platformer sort of layer, shall we say. You have a scaling element in the gameplay. So you're not on one consistent platform, which changes that gameplay exponentially. This game is also 2 players, so you and a friend can play it. It's that's the only. So we move to the next one. We've got 2-player support on this thing. This is a game, like I said, that bears a very special place in my heart. We mentioned it on our Sega Mega Masters channel because it's a game that I played with my father, and it's one of the first games I beat with my father. And when I beat the last boss, my dad was like, "That's it, my son, you did it," because he died. And it was just left to me to take on Death Adder. It's such a self-actualization moment, such a turning point in my life that my dad, and it's a memory I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And it's what made me love video games, this game. So this game, I love it. This is the console version I'm talking. I love it. I played the arcade version. Again, you got like this starting little animated sequence here of this guy here, and you got like a lot more detail in terms of the eyes move on the turtle and the eagle levels, and there's a bit more in terms of detailing on the arcade version. But quite a straightforward hack and slash, but a lot of fun. I'll take it to Sedan because he's going to talk about the guts of this game and fill in the blanks which I've left out. So go for it, Sedan.
Well, for me, what I love about Golden Axe is at a time when beat 'em ups were quite popular, Golden Axe was like it really stood out, not only for its fantastic graphics, its themes, the fact that it borrowed samples from films such as the screams that they use, but it really stood out for the fact that you had to think differently because opponents they were kicking you off ledges or you were kicking them off ledges, and it basically spun the beat 'em up strategy that you'd get in most beat 'em ups on its head and made for a really fresh experience because that formula was starting to get a little bit not stale, but Double Dragon had really kind of mastered it up until that point, so it needed a fresh injection, and a Golden Axe definitely give it that. And the fact that it was the Conan theme was so well done and so rich, and the fact that you had an Amazon woman in it which had absolutely amazing arse on it. All lads were like, well, yeah, we've got one guy picked the dwarf, one guy picked the woman to pair.
That's the way it is. That's got to be the way. That's got to be the way.
Sorry.
Another thing I forgot to mention is this used 3 action buttons in the arcade, not 2. So another evolution in terms of inputs. That's another thing I want to add. And I'll let you discuss what that other button did, Dan. But go for it.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, and like I say, you've got the magic element introduced in this with that other button. You'd also got the little combos where you could do the back attacks. I've never seen that before. I don't know if any other game had done it before, but I've not seen it before. Yeah. And this is also this is my wife's favorite arcade game because it's so easy to pick up and play. And for her, and she's terrible at games, absolutely awful. But she finds it so funny that she keeps falling off all these ledges and keeps. It's like a comedy to her. I mean, you can die instantly. So so often. So it's just got so many layers to it, and it's a fantastic game. Fantastic. Game.
I can second to that. Me and my wife played this earlier.
And she enjoyed it as well, Joe?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
I mean, she didn't enjoy me gooning at Tyrese, but she enjoyed it playing with me.
I like this game because it has a story to it. They all have losses. They're basically, Tyrus's Amazon people were slaughtered by this evil Death Adder bastard. Yeah. Gillis Thunderheads. I think his brother was killed, and all of them act like they're all damaged characters, but they all band together to take on this bastard. And I always think of like movies like Willow and things like that. You know, that came out. I think that was and things like that. Or obviously we mentioned Conan, the Destroyer, and the Barbarian, and all that. So it's that sort of revenge story, that sort of storyline. We've got to take him out. You know.
I can't remember. Again, there might have been another game that did it before, but I can't remember a game before this where you could ride dragons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You have accessories. Yeah,
it was stuff like that that really set it apart. It might only seem a minor deal at now, but back then it would mind blowing. To wait a second, there's a dragon. A guy's attacking me on a dragon. I can knock him off it, and I can ride it. Wow, you know what I mean? Mind blowing.
Yeah, so you have that.
I got to the point to where there was multiple coming in, and like every time I tried to get on a dragon, I got my ass knocked right off.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
Quick question. Is this one of those games is this like the very first games where you can actually ride something? Because
I can't remember
because we got Metal Slug, but before that we got
the 90s.
Because even in Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, I don't think you can even ride the dinosaurs. This one did.
I think this is the first of its kind where you can ride accessories like the dragons.
Right.
So you got 2 dragons and you got that little chicken leg. They call it a chicken leg. I don't know why they call it that, but that's what it is. So you have a lot of fantasy elements here. You have really nice detailed backgrounds. You have a stage design which is not as simple as they look. Obviously, you've got a whole plane that you can move around. Again, you have ditches in here, like Sir Dan said. Again, I mentioned the 3-button element of it where you have magic, and as you can see in the top heads-up display, you got a magic gauge. So the more magic bottles you get from these little imps that come through the levels, the more powerful your magic spells will be. And I always save them for the bosses, to be honest, because they take a lot of hits. That's what I go for.
I randomly hit the button and fuck that off.
Yeah, that
I'd have a full, and I'm just like, oh shit.
What's really funny is at the end of the level, whenever they turn up, you're sort of competing with the guy you're cooperating with to get the magic. And I say, look, like whenever I played my brother, because he always played as Tyrus, I said, look, you go first because you got the strongest attack, so you do it. I'm Gilius, so I'll get whatever I want later on. But we want to have your attacks up there. So it was a really good cooperative game to talk with somebody as a couch co-op game as well, not only at home but even in the arcades, I presume. The difference between the home version, and I want to elaborate on that, is there is an extra level at the end, which is why it's a superior game, to be fair, and it gives a more complete experience. In addition to it, the ending is also a little bit different too. That being said, the arcade version is a nice length and a very sweet game to play with somebody, and it has a nicer finish than the home version. There have been other ports to it. Obviously, there were ports at the time on all the different consoles. The Mega Drive port is the best. It remains the best to this very day. I think they did it right. There was a sequel with Golden Axe: Revenge of Death Adder, which was on System 32. That's also on the Astro City Mini. You know, you got both Golden Axe games on here. So you have a lot there, and also the Japanese game broke a sort of license because obviously they used a soundbite from Rambo. You know, the scream where the guy gets killed. That was from Rambo. They used it, and the American version was censored. I think they used a different one in that. But obviously, and towards the end there is a bit of graphic blood in the Japanese version. The American one that's censored that as well when you kill one of the bosses or whatever. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't played, but. Definitely a game that's challenging. Definitely a game I think is very well balanced as an arcade game. I mean, I mentioned how Shinobi was a bit cheap, I felt, whereas Golden Axe has a fluidity about it, and it gives the punter, the player, a chance to really take out the bad guys. And if you're crap, you're crap. That's it. You know, it's not because the game is cheap on you. It offers a really good, balanced challenge factor. One thing I love about it is the transitions between the stages. It's not one boring stage. It's the art and detail. The detailing of the different enemies and the different attacks they'll get, the variety. It's not like something is the same. It's not monotonous, and you never feel bored. That's one thing I like about this game. Like, where are we going there?
This is a true epic journey.
It feels like an
arcade game. You know, when I found out your second stage, you were on the back of a giant turtle, but it was a village. You know, as a kid, my mind was blown. You know,
up until you see like the head.
Yeah.
The transition from the head to the next. I'm like, whoa, yeah.
So again, I think of that novel Discworld because it's on the world is on the back of a turtle. And I think of things like that, but it's definitely got never-ending story. We've got all sorts of vibes, that fantasy vibes that were released in the 80s that it sort of was inspired and drawn from. But And all like these shadow things that come out of nowhere, and they take ages. The skeletons were the bastards in this game. I'll tell you that now. I love this game. The soundtrack again. Every level has a really, really well made soundtrack as well. I think I sent you a synthwave soundtrack a few weeks back in our little group, Dan, and they've done so many great hacks for it as well to enhance the soundtrack. So timeless game. I love this game anyway. But so Joel, what are your thoughts on this?
Me personally, again, 80s culture. 80s movies like Conan the Barbarian, Lady Hawk, the Beastmaster, Gore, all those old classic 80s movies, Sword and Sorcery. I forget what movie that was that had the sword with the 3 blades. I completely forgot. And 3 blades to it, and the bow and arrow that if you pulled back on it, it became a laser arrow and it shot multiple arrows on different people.
Okay.
That was the heyday of Dad.
Can you ever remember a film called Hawk the Slayer?
Yes, absolutely. I think that might be it. Actually, that might be it.
Yeah, well, I can see the woods in which that was filmed.
Oh, really? Very cool.
Near Mansfield, near Nottingham, and I can see the woods where they filmed that, mate.
That era. I don't know what it is about the 80s. It had the magic of anything is possible. Sword and sorcery, ninjas. We're talking like racing, and airplanes. Everything was possible. Everything had a tint of exuberance. I guess that's the right word for it. And this game had that also. The fact that the fact that you could play through the entire storyline, and it felt like Dan said, it's an epic journey. You felt like you were heroes in a sword and sorcery movie. With this one, you had a mission, you had a bad guy to take out, you had all these right bastards trying to take kick your shit in, and
Up until you fought these fucking little assholes right here.
Exactly. That's a bastard. Okay.
I hate them.
And I think I've done a run where I've done mostly tackles throughout the entire game. I've just run through run at everybody, just shoulder checked everybody all throughout until they died. So the sheer number of techniques, and I absolutely hate those little imps that carry those bottles. Fuck those guys. Just give them a kick whenever I see them. So yeah.
I'm hoping that somebody makes a ROM hack of this, whether it's the arcade or Mega Drive one, where you can actually play 3 players simultaneously.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I always have dreams of that. They've done it with Final Fight. They've done it with Final Fight on the Mega Drive, and that's outstanding.
And for the rides, chicken leg forever.
They need to do that for Streets of Rage, like Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, fucking up to 3 players.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. But yes,
on the hardest difficulty, enemies everywhere.
Generally, this one, the game is fascinating because of the fact that you play through the action, but you do care about why you're doing it. You're not just doing it because it's fun. It is fun. You play through the entire story, enjoying the whole thing. And if I remember correctly, by the end of it in the arcade, it shows a funny little sequence where they all break out of the arcade cabinet right after. It's a nice little fun thing. The same way with the Altered Beast. If you play through Altered Beast, that there's this little frame that shows that the entire game was a stage play or something of the sort. Yes. So it's those little things that make for so much personality with Sega arcade games. You just feel like they're not just in it for the cash, although they are in it for the cash, but they do show that they do care about the player. They know what you will enjoy and they will give it to you. That's it. That's what Golden Axe is to me.
What about you? Take the words out of my mouth, Joel.
No, there you go.
What about you, Jose? What about you, Juan? What do you think?
Well, just to piggyback off, what Joel said. My extra inputs on this, granted, playing it, I didn't know you can run until you got close to fucking the end. I'm like, the fuck, really?
Right, yeah, jumping.
So if I would have known you can shoulder tackle in the first stage, then it would have been a lot better.
I like doing right, jump, and I like to press down and then just go down.
Oh yeah. That's a possibility too.
I love
Yeah,
But
that
for
one.
it,
that
I mean,
causes
for
a lot
it
of
being an
damage.
arcade game, though, like honestly, like it surprised me. You know what I'm saying in the mechanics, and when you're fighting enemies, like I like getting up close and personal. I like what I'm saying when they get down on one knee and you're fucking smacking them in the
Yeah,
fucking head.
yeah.
Like that shit
There's
was
the
interesting.
ending.
And
I,
then picking them up and tossing them. Like I mean, the
Mm.
game, like it surprised me. I've never played it before. It's my first time playing it.
Yeah. Wow.
If I can,
okay.
play with somebody else, you know what I'm saying, it'd probably be even
Yeah.
better. But this
Play with
game
your
did
partner.
remind me of Altered Beast a lot.
Yeah, so it's interesting you mentioned this because I want to quickly go through this because they use the same board. So Sega System 16B, the games on this, and there were a lot more. You had Ace Attacker, which was a volleyball game. You had Alien Syndrome, which is another one classic game. Altered Beast is on this board, and that's 1988. You had Oriel, which is a Sega and Westone type of sort of top-down shooting game. You had Beirut, which is like a Contra-style game. You had Bullet, which is another sort of top-down sort of game, shooting game. You had Fantastic Dreams Cotton. You had Dunk Shot, which is a basketball game. You had Dynamite Ducks. You had Cyber Police eSwap. You had Excite League, Fantasy Zone 2. You had Flashpoint, which is like a puzzle game. Again, Golden Axe is on this board. Heavyweight Champ, MVP League Baseball. You had Passing Shot, a tennis game. Riot City, which is like a beat 'em up game. Ryukyu, which is like a sort of puzzler game. SDI Defense, again, Shinobi was also ported on this board. Sonic Boom, which is a shoot 'em up. Sukaban Jansi Ryoko. Super League, another baseball game. You got Tetris, Time Scanner, which is a pinball game, and Toriumon Rough Turf. Sorry, Turf. One Boy 3 Monster Lair. Wrestle War was on this
Here's
board.
the goon.
A lot. You have a lot of games. Outstanding. Just how many? Obviously, actually, the Mega Drive one she has a thong on. These are just like briefs. You can actually see more of a.
I've uploaded a photo. I don't know if anybody can see it, but I put the evolution of Tyrus Flair's butt on the Mega Drive. I don't know if you can see it in your. Who's in charge?
Joe would be in charge, but yes,
But another game that this game also reminded me of as playing, as I said, Altered Beast, and I went and played it after. Final Fight. After playing this, I went and played Final Fight.
This is a
great game.
Yeah. So this is a step up from Altered Beast for sure. I'm sure you can see. Obviously, the whole Final Fight thing in Street Race. Again, Final Fight. I think the one that's just come out on the Mega Drive, and I don't know if I've sent you Final Fight MD yet, but it's a really good copy, and that's one that's really a good way to play it. But yeah, Golden Axe. That's like that's the pinnacle of I think System 16B technology. When we're looking at that in the arcade form anyway, and this is again Sega saying we're bringing the arcade home, and this is really the crux of what they were aiming for. And
go chicken leg.
the Mega Drive, it was bringing the arcade home. They did it justice. So you're rating for this game, Sedan?
I'm going to give it 9.5.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact that I think the Mega Drive version is the definitive one. This is great, but the Mega Drive does. You get extra levels, and there's a dual mode as well, and it just lifts it up that little bit. So I definitely say play this, but if you're going to play Golden Axe for the proper full version, Mega Drive.
Yeah, that's the director's cut. If you want, that's what I'd call it. What about? Let's go with you, right, RV. What are your thoughts on this and your rating?
This beat 'em up is a lot of fun. I played it solo though. I just have a quick question, if you could answer. When you play it co-op, when you collect the potions, is it for that individual or is it for the team?
The individual. You have to share.
Okay. I would have loved to have played it co-op because nothing builds friendships like stealing other people's magic potions.
It's that's gonna create a fucking little hostility.
The best thing, and this is why me and my wife have such a good laugh on it. On the Mega Drive version, you credit share, so I have to look after her. That's what's so funny about it because we could, I think you start with 3 credits, and she can just burn through those if I don't take care of it. So we have no end of fallouts over it. You know what I mean? So if you're playing that's definitely the way to go, mate.
That's
I'm
fun. But
cheap
yeah,
in the sense that I wait for the energy. You know, with the enemies and you got the ditches, I make sure I just want to kick them off. I don't want to bother wasting my time attacking them. I just kick them off. Fuck that shit. I don't want to burn.
Well, I didn't
through.
trip. She's got a Blaze fielding, like, you know, her kick. Is that where they got it from originally?
Yes, so this came before. This is a precursor to Streets of Rage.
Yeah,
Streets of Rage 991. This is 1989 Sega, and 1990 on Mega Drive hardware, and that's when it was ported onto it. But yeah, amazing game.
I mean, just to, I don't want to get too political, but just to throw something in there, always makes me laugh is modern day. I see a lot of modern day moaning from some people about empowering women and including women in gaming. And I'm like, Sega had Alice in Phantasy Star, Tyrus in Golden Axe, Blaze in Streets of Rage. You know, there were like that 30, 40 years ahead of all that stuff.
Heroines.
It weren't a big deal. No one cared about it. You know, it weren't a political thing. It was just it was great to have strong women in games.
100% with Dan here. Anything that you guys nowadays are complaining about, we did it better back in the 80s. When racism wasn't such a it wasn't a thing because of the fact that we all cooperated. The big word back then was cooperation.
Yeah.
Feminine power wasn't really a thing because we knew that we complemented each other. So yes, females in film, females in video games, females in books. We had that different races, different styles, different walks of life. Yeah.
And when it comes to that aspect, like I said, you know, and Blaze meets my top 3 when it comes to, like, I'm going wide open. So all-time gaming with female leads or with the female, you know, aspect in it. Blaze is 3rd. Sakura from Street Fighter is 2.
Okay.
And Aloy from Horizon is number 1.
I mean, you know, just simple fact that Alien and Aliens 2 had Ripley as the main character, strong, powerful woman as the lead. Dude, you've already got it. I don't know what you guys are squawking about nowadays. And in Miami Vice, Crockett and Tubbs were equal partners. You know, black guy, white guy. They were, you know, they were solving crimes together.
I think they're more squawking about like women getting equal pay to men in the movies.
Equal pay. It's illegal to pay women lower.
Oh,
rate. Yeah.
Oh. Tell that to Jennifer Lawrence.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Did you ever see?
forward.
Did you ever see Streets of Fire? The film
Streets of Fire. Oh my goodness, yes.
That's so if you watch that, if you've not seen it, it's got an actress in called Diane Lane, and she's very obviously.
Oh, she was in Judge Dredd.
Say anybody?
Diane Lane was in Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
was she?
Yeah. She's quite obviously her character.
In Man of Steel. She's Superman's mum. She's Martha.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't realize.
She's old now. But yes, sir.
Yeah, well. She was quite obviously the influence from Streets of Fire
for Tyrus
Blaze.
Oh,
for Blaze. If you look at Blaze,
okay, there you go for Blaze.
And you look at Diane Lane in Streets of Fire, there's not much difference. You can tell that that's where they're taking it from.
You're going to give us your rating of this game. Let's go.
Yes, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So if you it's a 9 out of 10.
Okay. What about you, Sir Joe?
Me? 10 out of 10. Easy.
10?
Yeah.
What about you, Juan? What were you saying?
10.
Yeah, there you go.
And what about this one? This one you could actually play, Sir Joe.
Yes.
You can't be crap at this game. So
this is more your speed, Joe. You and the wife played this. You admitted it.
So Joe, this was the first game I know deathed in the arcade. So you must go on. It is once you've got the hang on it, this is quite an easy game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, true. Very true. Yeah. How about you, Joe?
With this game, out of all of the 7 games that Sir Dan presented to us, this is the only game that I was able to finish.
Hold on.
Okay.
I think it was the shortest out of all the games.
It's one of the shortest, one of the relatively one of the by comparison, the easiest one out of the bunch. Sure, it's beat 'em up hack and slash.
Yeah,
like would it be awesome if Sega will permit if Tyrese was like a playable character in Soul Calibur, or Blaze will be a playable character in the next Tekken or Street Fighter games.
Yeah,
right. Would have been nice.
I've entirely seen Akuma in Tekken.
Thanks for keeping it classy. I was thinking you were going to say something else, but I'm glad.
No, I mean, To my knowledge, ain't Tyrese supposed to be the princess here?
She's an Amazonian princess of a
Yes.
tribe. Yeah, she,
Right.
a tribe was slaughtered by Death Adder, and she's out for blood.
Or am I reading that? Or I'm not sure because I'm not sure where I read that or heard of it. In the Japanese
on the
version,
intro screen. On the intro screen, it tells you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's in.
because I'm like, yeah, because in my head canon, I'm like, Tyrese is the princess here. She wanted to fight. She just removed her dress and she's just fighting in her underwear, right here.
This is
Hey,
like
hey.
Classy.
Hey,
the Amazons.
ain't
They're
nothing
not
wrong
that
with
kind of
that.
princess. It's not castles and shit. She's a princess of an Amazonian tribe in the jungle. Yeah, in the forest, and that's what they wear. All right, we're talking.
No. In my head canon,
This
she's
is
an
this
actual
is before
princess
Victoria's Secret or
wanted
We're
to
what?
fight,
talking
off her
90
dress,
degree heat.
just fighting in her knickers.
She's a
And
warrior.
there's nothing wrong with that too.
Listen, she
I'm
can't
just
be wearing
saying.
a dress and fighting in a dress. That gets in the way. She needs to
Okay.
be.
No, that's why she took off the dress.
All right. Okay.
So what,
anyway,
what was the brand? This was obviously Raj. This is pre fucking Victoria's Secret. So what was it? What was it back then?
This is
Back
Dark
then, back
Ages
in the
Victoria's
80s.
Secret. Queen Victoria's Secret, mind you.
Back in the 80s, it was just Sears catalog. But anyway,
Oh.
so yeah.
All right. So
Or Macy's.
Juan, what is your rating of the game?
Ja,
what-
your
Juan
rating.
and Joe, so your ratings.
I'll give it a 10.
10.
Okay.
Nice.
I give it 9.5. Like so, Dan.
I give it a
Because,
10, especially with Tyree's ass.
Okay.
Tyree's ass is just a 10.
So
Yes.
with her ass,
Well,
that was the 9 points out of the fucking out of your rating.
That was the whole 9 points right there. That's the whole 9.
So
Can you see, Sir Joe, the picture I've uploaded? Can you see that?
Which one?
Stage? Of Tyrus. I've uploaded your picture backstage.
Oh
Can you see it?
yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Pop it up.
I think I still have that somewhere.
No, it's not. I've uploaded it now backstage for you.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, here we go.
Can you see it?
This is the one, guys. There you
There
go.
There's
you
the evolution.
go.
That's the money shot
Hang
right
about,
there.
the one on the left isn't Tyrus. She's another
No,
character.
oh, you spoiled it. You spoiled it. That's
She's
Golden
not-
Axe 3 where is it Sarah or Sarah? I can't remember.
Sarah, yeah. Sarah
Oh,
Kane or
Sarah.
something. Oh, Sarah.
Come on. I mean,
Very-
would you look
Very
at that?
manly looking.
That now that is very 80s, 90s pixelated
Oh,
ass right there.
yeah, absolutely.
Prime
yeah.
grade.
See,
There you
but
go.
I like the one on the right though. That one's better.
We knew how to appreciate aesthetics back then. None of this
There you
land
go.
whale shit.
I mean,
okay?
which one has a lot more meat for Joel?
Yes.
So she was in
The
Golden
buff
Axe
one on the
1.
left.
So she had a role in Golden Axe and Golden Axe 2. She was also in Golden Axe Beast Rider, where they changed the design, which I didn't like. Made her look tribal, like a savage. It was on PlayStation 2,
It's the shading.
but it's changed now anyway. So shall we move on to the next game since we've done rating this one?
Yes.
We'll just absorb that a few more seconds.
We don't need people with their cameras getting all hazy, man.
I
Too
can
late.
honestly say,
Too late.
as a 10-year-old lad,
Yeah.
that kind of caught my eye. I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
wait
Oh,
a second
yeah.
there."
Yeah, when I was preview best, I thought that's
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I thought,
Yeah.
okay. Oh
There
my.
you go.
So we've had a look at a gander at the benefits of Golden Axe and another probe of it about it. But the next stage of the arcade technology from Sega, obviously we had the System 16B. There was also System 16A, which we were skipping past, but then there was also System 24, Sega System 24, which was quite revolutionary in the sense that even though it was still a 2D board, you had a 3D sort of style polygons or 3D style art that was put into it. And there was a number of games under the System 24 bandwagon. But what we're going to talk about now is the next game, which is Crackdown. Okay? Crackdown. When that's what it said on there. Crackdown is like that weird sound. So we'll load that. I'm going to have a look at that now. This one has also come out in 1989. So yeah, whilst Golden Axe was one of the later, more refined Sega System 16B ports, this was System 24. In 89, this is when the board was a thing. So yeah, again, it's a game where it's again 2-player co-op, and you play as these two characters, Ben and whatever the other guy was called, and you have to go and plant basically a bomb in these bases and blow up these evil bastards, basically. And you have to sort of sneak through the bases. You don't want to draw too much attention. Again, you got like a gun and you got like a sort of rocket propelled grenade or like a missile gun or a bazooka or something. You can shoot at people. And you got these little X dots on the little map above on the heads-up display where you got to plant the bomb and then you got to exit the level. It's as simple as that. That's the premise of the game, and you got to do it within a time frame as well. Got to mention that. So Andy and Ben,
Call of Duty, man.
Yeah, so you got that sort of top-down aspect of it. The levels get more complex as you go along. I enjoyed this game. It's a game that I played on the Mega Drive, so I played the Mega Drive port of it. The arcade port is there as well, but it's very close. But the arcade has a much more refined graphical aspects to it. So, Dan, your thoughts on this Badman game?
I utterly love Crackdown. Absolutely. I think the great thing about this, and again, it's a lot of it is the time in your life when you meet these games, is that it was so much more strategic than most arcade games around at the time. This, you really had to think at this one. This, your action figure and your trigger finger, yeah, you needed it, but you had to really be on your mettle because of the time limit. And a lot of the stages introduced new gimmicks such as moving bridges and moving, various platforms. And it's just again, it's a really, really cleverly designed game in terms of stage layout and how it all comes together. And I think the cooperative aspect of this is fantastic because it's got an amazing balance of you both need to work together to clear the stages, to place the bombs in the right places so you're done in the time limit, but you're also trying to outscore your opponent as well. So there's a brilliant trade-off of trying to beat your partner but work together. And I just think it's a really clever game, a very clever game.
It is a very clever game. You got to be quick, but you got to be tactical as well, strategic as well. You also have to make sure you use stealth to your advantage because these villains aren't stupid. Yeah, they're not stupid. They will come for you if you're just a moment slow. They'll gun you up or they'll punch you up or whatever it is they're going to do. They will come for you. So you got to be quick. And you can be like, oh my god, got to get away. I got to run this way. I got to go this way. And it's not just you have to be quick. You have to get to the and there's obstacles within the level as well. You've got barriers and you have to find ways around it and all that sort of other stuff. So there are many gameplay elements, etc., that are there. And obviously, different adversaries attack differently as well. So you have to think, okay, how am I going to get past this guy because he's going to attack me this way, or this guy's going to come at me this way? Oh, I don't want to deal with him. I'll just not bother. Stuff like that. So I enjoy this game. Again, it comes with the Sega Astro City Mini included as one of those things, and it's a good thing because one thing I have to say about System 24 games is they can be a pain to emulate on computers these days. Some of them can be like missing assets and stuff. But that being said, I would like this to have another release in some sort of arcade compilation that's accessible to people rather than these sort of mini arcades, which are quite pricey now, sadly. But yeah, again, you mentioned with co-op, a lot of fun. In terms of the music, it's not like something that's I'd say it's for easy listening, but it lends itself to the game magnificently.
Oh, it's beautiful music, yeah.
Down.
Can anybody think of any games before this that did the cover mechanic? Because I can't. This was the first time I remember seeing where you could lean to a wall and take cover.
We had Metal Gear on the NES, surely, no? Didn't that have a cover mechanic?
I'm not sure on the dates on that, you see. I'm not sure when.
Okay, so Metal Gear was a 1987 game, so that did do that.
I do know that, right?
It did do that. But this, in terms of the arcade, no. This is the first thing in the arcade that I can think of. Metal Gear wasn't an arcade game, but this is definitely...
It'd be badass if it was an arcade game, though.
Oh, well, there we go. What I liked about this game is it's quite fluid. It's the simplicity of the Sega Arcade. You've got the heads-up display up there. There's your map. That's the exit. They're the 3 exits. And you have to get through it, and that's it. It's like you don't need a manual to sort of understand that. And that's what makes Sega Arcade games really good. It's easy to sort of get through. I like this game a lot as well. It's not my favorite System 24 game, though. That would be Bonanza Brothers. That's my favorite System 24 game. But that is similar, really, because you've still got to sort of hide and then shoot, and it's based obviously on a 2D plane. But we might cover that game in another time. But that's a favorite of mine. That also had a Mega Drive port. System 24, and that had a much better looking sort of look in the arcade version. So yeah, I like that game a lot. Again, also with included on here. So yeah, Crackdown, another great, unique arcade game. Again, you have like these little nicer colored animations there. You have little cutscenes in it. And Sega System 24 lent
You're looking
itself.
like Double Dragon.
Yeah, it has that look, or bad dudes look, doesn't it? It has that kind of feel to it, to the sort of presentation. But it's a game that I enjoy. So Joel, your thoughts on Crackdown?
Well, I can say that this suffered a little bit because of the fact that back in the 80s, in the Philippines, the arcade operators really had to maximize their profits as opposed to the space that they had or the audience that they had in Philippine shores. So they really went for the fancy, popular, visually appealing ones right off the bat. So so they could make as much money as they could. Afterburner, Outrun, Space Invaders, Pac-Man, and all that. So things that could really be sat down and played right off the bat and munch your quarters as fast as possible. So Crackdown is a thinking man's arcade game.
Definitely.
So this one is the kind of game where you would really reap a lot of benefits playing it, but sad to say, you don't reap it as fast as possible, fast enough for the arcade operators to really make any money off of it. So it really did not appear in as many arcades as it should have in the Philippines. And it was only recently that I became aware of this game and I got to play it, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the heck out of it. But yes, this really would not have made much money back in the 80s in the Philippines. I'm sure it would have in other parts, like in the USA or in the UK. But sad to say, it really did not have a presence in Philippine shores.
I think, you're right. I mean, look, the sprites are quite small. It has a nice polish to it when you look at the game itself, the arcade version I'm talking. But this is System 24. And I just want to talk about other games that lend itself to the board as well. So I mentioned Bonanza Brothers, which has a nice shiny look to it. There's Dynamic CC, which is a golf game. Game Ground is another one.
Oh yeah.
That's like the first sort of System 24 game because you can see how primitive it is. But one thing I'll say about System 24, they had a nice polish, but it wasn't the fastest board. That's what I will say about System 24. So you had that. You had a game called Hot Rod. That's a top-down racing game. Obviously I mentioned the golf games as well. You had Rough Racer, again, another sort of top-down racing. Scramble Spirit, which had a Master System port, strangely enough, but that's a shooter. But again, it had very, very detailed sprites. So that's what I'll say about System 24. A lot of detailed sprites, but again, in terms of the assets that they had, I would say that it's probably the closest Sega came to having something looking like Super Nintendo in the arcade and has the pathway they took with System 24. But again, they sort of reverted and came back to their senses, I felt, with System 32, which is the main technology leap after that, which actually added a bit more speed and scaling to that technology. And there were other technologies they had, but Sega System 24 wasn't the best sort of arcade board, I would say, and I'm glad that they sort of moved away from that and didn't sort of lend a lot of games to that board. It wasn't the most successful board, but Crackdown is a solid game from its sort of legacy of that particular board, and I do like it a lot. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Who hasn't spoken about this game yet? Juan, do you have anything to say?
I didn't even get a chance to play it because I couldn't find it in your list.
Enough. Okay,
but I did watch it. I mean, I watched gameplay on it, and like I said, from what I saw, like literally, it looked amazing. Like it looked good and everything. So like I'm very interested in wanting to play it.
It has
but the game that it reminded me of, the game that it reminded me of instantly when I saw it was Loaded on the Sega Saturn. Have you ever played that one? Like instantly, just like the movement and everything is just, it reminded me strictly of Loaded. But I do want to give this game a go though, because I mean, all the games I've played so far that Dan threw out there has been fucking amazing. That I was able to play were good.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
It's definitely one to play 2-player if you can.
This game is 10 times better on 2-player. That's for sure. I'll say that because it is a co-op game. And it's hard on single player, I'll say. What about you, RV? Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, for me, Crackdown was surprisingly fun. I wasn't too sure what to expect, but its creativity it's packed with quite deep gameplay. You'll find that simply shooting isn't enough because ammo is not unlimited, and so you actually need a plan when you're playing this. My favorite plan was trying to get the guy carrying the flamethrower to kill his other people. That wasn't the best plan, but it was certainly the most fun. In all seriousness, I love the top-down gameplay. I like the strategy that's involved. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5, so like a 9 out of 10.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Saddam? What rating did you give this game?
This is a 9. This is a 9 for me because I think it's fantastic and strategic, but that slowness, that is, you have to be in a certain frame of mind, and you can feel the slowness of it. So
Game Ground is too slow. Game Ground was pretty. That's too slow for me. I didn't like that one.
Yeah, same. This to me is a game that I played in the arcade. I liked in the arcade, but I didn't really come to appreciate it until I played it at home, and I really
the Mega Drive way is the way to play it, in my view. Forgive me if that sounds a bit wrong, because it is a downscale in terms of the graphics and the way it looks, but it plays so much better. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says, man. This the Mega Drive one is the one I would play, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, my thoughts.
It doesn't matter how you play it, as long as you enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally give this game an 8 out of 10. It's just not my sort of go-to arcade game. I appreciate what it is, and I think it's a great game. I think I'll probably enjoy it more, again, like you said, on co-op. You know, that's my view on that. So Joel, your rating?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Honestly, I'm going to be a little bit harsh here. I think it was out of place in the arcades. It really would have made a lot more sense if they had come out with it right off the bat as a console game, because it really does lend itself better to stopping, thinking for a moment. Well, not as fast as possible, because arcades really depend on a lot of quick reflexes and everything. The tactical aspect, I would say, lends itself much better to a console release right off the bat. So sorry to have to say this, probably an 8 out of 10 because of the good gameplay, but it's misplaced.
That being said, it's still a good score. It's
it's still a good score. But I mean, the gameplay is top notch. I do enjoy the very idea of it. The fact that you're tactically moving around and making sure that your resources are allocated properly and that your movements are maximized to achieve all the objectives. Yes, definitely, it's up there. But in terms of placement, it's badly placed in the arcades. Sorry to have to say. And Ryan actually did a tremendous job pointing this out. Arcade in the Philippines during the 80s was different due to outright bans until 1986. President Marcos back then made it illegal to own or operate a gaming console. So yeah, that was something that was part of our history. He banned he banned arcades. He banned super robot shows, anime, if I remember correctly.
Why?
Because anime he banned because it was competing against his against educational shows back then, like Sesame Street and Electric Company.
The fuck?
Yeah,
It
And
was an
arcades
not
he
an
banned
answer.
because he was against gambling, because it was arcades were becoming gambling areas. So yeah, that was the thing.
What the hell?
Yeah, kids
I
would.
think the
kids
real
would-
reason is this man
Overwatch
had no
Suckers?
dick. That's what I think the reason was. Man had no dick in the edition.
Possibly, yeah, and he was, he was under the thumb of Imelda back then, who's still in power right now, by the way.
Ridiculous
Imelda,
person.
the thousand shoes lady. But anyway,
Wrong
so
with
yeah,
you?
Imelda, don't assassinate me. I'm a U.S. citizen now, please. Okay, all right.
Whatever. This man had no dick. You know, that's his problem, man. That's what I'll say. Right. I want a revolution. Yeah, this is it. We need a revolution. This is some bullshit laws that they've been doing.
And Gummy
Go
said,
ahead.
"Damn it, Tito Joel, there you go. He knows. Maruna Royka. Gummy knows what the score
Don't get
is.
me
There
started
you
with
go."
this shit. Right.
All I gotta say to your story is my verga.
Let's have a look at Sir Joe. I think he's falling asleep. Wake up, Sir Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
I'm just watching the gameplay.
The first episode that I've been a part of that he's hardly said anything. I haven't seen any reactions, but just his head nod.
No. The thing about it is,
No.
Joe really.
Actually, you guys are all giving all of these opinions
Spot
and
on.
information. And I'm just watching the gameplay because I played this like a few hours ago, and I'm just curious on how far this guy can go
Oh, okay, he's watching. Okay, got it. Okay,
No,
he
I mean,
wants to see.
yeah,
So
because,
that's what you were talking
just
about earlier, Joel. His
dawned
day
on me.
off. He's just chilling.
Yeah, I mean, it just dawned on me that the characters here are actually going through the base with a live bomb. Like, and when I say live bomb, like the actual time limit is the actual time bomb, and they're all and going to the axis. The time bombs are already running on the countdown. So I'm
Mm-mm.
like, because you usually it's just like, okay, plant the bombs and then you set them
Then
off.
you set the timer.
Here,
Yeah, that's true.
no, like the actual time limit that you see, that's the actual time
Hey,
bomb
hey, let's get one thing
going
straight.
on.
This is a suicide mission, yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
true.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah. Mhm.
they gotta take it out no matter
and
the
they're
cost.
just yeah. I mean, there's no sense of urgency between the two. They're just casually walking,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, just
And
strolling. I got a
like,
bomb here, but I don't care. You know?
What's the
they just
timer? 30
just
seconds.
taking
Okay.
Arnold, what's the timer? I'm like, I don't know. I think we still got 2 minutes, man.
It says 90.
Like,
Just
You
keep it
idiot, turn it
o'clock.
around.
like
It's
Rambo
0
and
6.
Commando, beaming Jimmy Lee around here, right? So if this game reminds me of Die Hard, the first one, on the NES, how top down kind of game and you shooting the enemies kind of looked like to me the first time I saw it, and arguably because this is the one of those game out of all of the 7 games that Sir Dan mentioned, this is the one that I'm not really familiar with. So playing this for the first time, I'm like, oh, this is surprisingly fun. Okay.
I mean, it's slow,
I
so
think
you
I,
can
I
play
yeah,
it. I mean, slow enough
yeah,
for you to.
I think I managed to go. Actually, I didn't realize that there's like a lot of stages here. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I thought I was on the stage 4, but no, it's just Act 4, stage 1. I'm like, this is some bullshit. Like, how many floors am I supposed to go around here?
Well, it's slow and
But
strategic.
yeah,
You're okay
yeah,
with that sort of shit. It's at your level,
a
mate.
lot of variety here of the enemies, and sometimes they will just keep on shooting until you show up on that narrow corridor. So although it is refreshing that you can pin yourself against the wall so you can just avoid those bullets. That was a nice touch. Anyway, because I'm like, okay, how else am I supposed to avoid all of the bullets here? Can I crouch down? Like, how can I tell? But no, you'll just go press yourself against the wall, and hopefully, you'll be able to avoid all of those bullets because they just go straight. I would give this a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
enough.
Yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
would expect that from you because it's slow enough for you to play. For some of us,
Yeah,
a
but
bit.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's
I
it's
know
right
that you're-
enough. Like, yeah, it's not too slow, but not too fast for me.
I
Nice.
think for someone like you who clearly is high on marijuana right now, it's your speed, you know what I mean? Like, if you're a junkie, yeah, you'd be all right for this sort of game, you know what I mean?
Call
I'm
him a
more of a
fucking
baseball
donkey.
guy myself.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. It is, but this is a game for those people who just want to take their time. Because I know you're strategic because you like JRPGs. That's your main. That's your jam. So again, this is where you can sort of strategize. You can
Metal Gear Solid, the first one, reminds me of this too.
Yeah.
yeah. There's stealth elements.
But Metal
in
Gear
there as
Solid
well.
is more fucking fast paced than this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this is the issue with the Sega System 24 stuff. Even games like Scramble Strips, which is a shooter, visually stunning, yeah, but again, it was slow. It's slow.
Yeah.
It's just the way the arcade board was, and they moved away from this. But this is probably the standout one, and Bonanza Brothers actually were the probably better System 24 games. The others, they're all right. They're not bad games, but they're better.
Before it's time, though, dude. I mean,
and
can't knock
to
it.
piggyback on what Sir Joel mentioned, I was surprised that this is an arcade Sega game, because the first time I saw it, I'm like, this should be like, am I playing an arcade game or a console game?
Yeah.
Because it kind of looks like a console game to me than an arcade game. Of all things considered.
Yeah.
Considering the direction that gaming was going at the time, it really
Right.
wouldn't surprise me if they designed this with transition to console in mind, because
Yeah.
that was
Likelier
what-
than not. Yeah. Likelier than
around
not.
that time, that's what was happening.
Well,
That's
but see,
when you were putting games in arcades to advertise your console games, essentially.
True.
Correct.
I mean, I just want to sort of add to this as well. And I want to go back to a point that I made about System 24 technology and how really it was sort of burdened with a weaker processor to power this high graphic system, because it did have nice looking graphics. And this is just like a testament to Sega saying, no, we'll stick with like a faster processor with graphics that actually work with the game. And with System 32, which offered a lot more scaling elements, which is the next real step from System 16-18, that was the right decision. The fact that they didn't sort of go with the System 24.
Gauntlet, Sir Dan. Reminds me of Gauntlet as well.
Gauntlet,
Gauntlet.
Yeah, of course.
Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And again, I would say that this also reminds me of Alien Syndrome, which is another sort of Sega game. Because obviously in that one, you save the hostages before you get to the time, and the time bomb is set, and you have to get to the exit. Similar sort of premise, but obviously a little bit different with Crackdown, because you've got the stealth elements, etc., and it plays a lot differently. But yeah, I'm glad that Sega went down the route of Sega System 32, which is the next step. But even then, like what I find, which was absolutely bonkers, is they spent so much money, because they made a lot of money selling these games, in the arcades, but they took so much money. They just spent so much on innovating technologies which were never truly fully utilized. So you had System 32, and if you remember when Ryo Hasegawa came and we had this discussion as to what direction Sega would have gone in the arcades, he actually said, I would have liked it more if they innovated more with System 32 technology than Model 1. Instead, Sega took the Model 1 route, which was Virtua Fighter, Virtua Racing, and all that, which, in my view, is still the right decision. Model 1. I think System 32 was great in terms of the way the scaling was, and it lent itself to those games. But listen, they had to go 3D, and they should have been the first to do it, and they were the first to go 3D in the arcades, and that's something to do that gives them credit. I mean, Virtua Fighter in 1992, like that was like, think about it, 1992, and you look at the Virtua Fighter and Virtua Racing. Yeah. So Virtua Fighter came up, I think it was 93, but even those two, that arcade board, that Model 1 arcade board, really set the precedent of what Sega were all about. We're here to push the future today. With the future today, that's what we're doing. Which leads on to the next game, which is the Model 2A hardware. And so Dan, this is like the odd one out because we obviously skipped a few generations. There are some games in between, but it's Manx TT Superbike, or is it Manx Superbike TT? I don't know. Which is a super scaler, but also a 3D game with 3D assets. But I hand to you, Sir Dan. You talk about this game because you're more familiar with it than I am. This is one of the games that I played for a brief stint back in the day, but I didn't quite gel with it. But go on, you talk about why you like this game. And
I think this just stood out because by this point in gaming, consoles had kind of really come to the forefront. Arcade gaming was still present. It was still quite big, and Street Fighter 2 obviously really reinvigorated it. But by 1995, arcades were starting to flag a bit. Crowds were starting to dwindle. And so, again, Sega and other arcade makers had to up the ante. And they went back to the tried and trusted method of having a full cab there. That really gave you a great racing feel. Now, I won't say realistic, but they put a lot of heavy drift into this game. So when you was on the actual bike moving the drift, it felt fantastic. It really did. And I think this is one that you had to play in the arcade at the time to appreciate that. You were back to being immersed in the game because of the cab again, and it kind of grabbed everybody's attention again. Certainly where I was from anyway. We're kind of like, wait a second, don't forget about arcades because they can give you something else that you can't quite get at home yet. And so, the disappointment with this, there weren't many tracks with it because we all played it, we all mastered these few tracks they had, and then that were it. Yeah, but it was like a bit of a cold bucket of water over gamers again to get back in the arcade, and
I think that's because memory costs were expensive and they needed to have more memory for all those tracks. But yeah, I mean, this is outstanding for its time, 1995. And one thing I failed to mention earlier was the differences between what we had Sega Model 1, which I mentioned, which is true 3D polygonal design. So what's the difference between Model 2, which is what this is? And the difference is this introduced real-time texture mapping. lighting and triluminar filtering, and a much more graphical realism than what we had before, as you can see from just looking at it for its time, compared to what Model 1 is. It's actually a huge step from Model 1, Model 2, because it's not just, it doesn't look like blocky, and there's a huge step to the smoothness of the textures. And you're racing, and you can see that track. You can see the detail on the track. Yes, it's obviously technology has gotten better so much now. There's a lot more detail, but you can see that those white lines are coming towards you. You can see, those other bikes are coming towards you, the scenery around you, and there's a level of detail. You can see the Sega signs on the sort of side of the road. So, it's a fun game. The arcade experience, I did experience at Sega World in London many years ago. I did play this game. And Sega World, just so for those of you listening, those of you here, was when Sega expanded their grip on the arcade, and they had this place in London's Trocadero, which was like 3 floors, and you had an escalator. They had a lot of amusements. Some of the most high-end, cutting-edge arcades were there. So, another game we failed to mention, which was successor to Afterburner, was used the Sega Ring Edge technology, which was G-Lock. And you could sort of spin around and all that. And we don't even mention that. There's so much. We should do a part 2 to this, because we don't even touching some of the greatness of what they did. But this game, you got on the bike and you could move left to right, and you'd be immersed in that. And there was something really cool about that. And yeah, there was Super Hang-On, but that was 16-bit super scaling. This is definitely the next step up from that. Again, you mentioned how it's a shame that they had so many limited tracks to this, but again, the amount of memory needed to run this at the time was a lot, and it was expensive. And Sega really pushing the boundaries when it came to expensive arcade amusements, because they wanted to stay ahead of Namco, Konami, and Capcom. And they had all those other competitors I mentioned. They had their golden gooses. Street Fighter was obviously Capcom's golden goose, and that was their versus fighter thing. Namco had a lot of series of shooters that were very well known for. Konami, they had the Turtles in Time game, and that was their golden goose. And that Simpsons arcade game. So they had something to offer. Sega, they had their fingers in many pies, and they really did excel. And this again goes back to the sort of experienced racing games that we had with Sega, with the Space Harrier and Outrun and the Afterburner. They've gone back to something that actually appeals to more of the mainstream. I mean, who doesn't want to ride in a race, and do experience what that feels like? And this tries to simulate that. What I will say is it was fun while it lasted. I was only 11 when I played this at the time, and I was crap, to be honest. And I haven't played it since, but I do remember enjoying it for the brief period that I was on that machine, because it felt like I was on a roller coaster, because I was moving with it. It was fun. But that's my thoughts on this game. But I liked it for what it was. But yeah, I can understand why you liked it as well, Sedan. So it's a pretty good game. That's my thoughts on the game anyway. Who else got an opportunity to play this? Because I know it's System 2A. I didn't have the ROM, sadly, for this particular one. Did anyone here play this game, or your thoughts on it anyway?
I watched a video.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, good game. I mean, in first person, dude, and if you're, maneuvering the bike, it probably gets you all fucking dizzy and sick and shit. But just watching it, though, it literally it instantly brought me to fucking Road Rash.
Yeah.
Literally. Road Rash. That's a good
Road
call.
Rash and Jet Moto.
Yeah, actually, JDM in the chats did say that it reminded him of Motor Racer on PS1. That's a good call too. Yeah,
Motor Racer.
That's a good call. So yeah. For me,
Rider.
I didn't get to experience this in the arcades because, again, expensive. I'm pretty sure the operators didn't have enough cash to keep something as good as this maintained back then. But yeah, this does remind me of Sega Rally Championship in terms of visuals, in terms of the tracks. Sega Rally Championship, of course.
Same thing with Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer, there's also that too. Definitely on much more on more paved roads, definitely, because motorcycling, motor racing is supposed to be for asphalt. But yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Sega Rally, because that uses this board as well. That is the same board that was used.
Same board. Okay, so that explains it. So that's
Virtua Fighter 2, same board. So I mean, those were like the games that this board was known for. Obviously, Sedan likes Manx TT Superbike, which is still a great game for the board, but it wasn't what the board was known for. But again, a great game, and there were a number of games that this board lent itself. So Data East used this board. So it wasn't just Sega. They used it, and there was a prototype game called Airwalkers that they worked on. Tecmo, they used this for the first Dead or Alive. You know, Dynamite Cop, which later was transitioned to Die Hard Arcade at home on the Saturn, will use this same board. Motor Raid, which is another sort of racing game that they had. Pilot Kids, and you had Sky Target as well, which is an Afterburner clone. Well, I wouldn't say Afterburner clone, but it's the next step in terms of 3D animated jet fighting games. And you have this other game called Zero Gunner, which is kind of like developed by SEGA, which is basically a top-down helicopter game like that Desert Strike, but 3D in the arcades. But yeah, there were a number of other companies, not just Sega, that used their boards. And this is where Sega were really coming to their own, because not only were their boards used for their games that they wanted to put on it, but other developers used their boards, you know, and Sega would have to sort of license their games on their hardware and make money that way. So,
well, all I can say is that if I do manage to hunt this down in an actual arcade sometime in the near future, I'll definitely give it a go. That's what I'm
okay, but you have to take a picture and you have to remake
yeah,
Dan's picture.
absolutely.
We need
Yeah,
to see
absolutely.
the blue steel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know, gotta shoot. I'll do both. The two different facial
Blue
expressions:
steel and
Magnum and blue steel.
And
Yeah.
Magnum.
Same
You know,
thing.
well, yeah, exactly.
Same
They're
thing.
the same.
No, they're not the same thing.
Same thing.
No,
I think I'm taking crazy.
they are not the same thing.
Huh?
Excuse me,
Yeah,
He was
they're
sir.
able to turn
Like the
left,
same
okay?
thing.
He was
Like
able to make the left
Mr.
turn.
Zoolander, sir. They are not the same thing.
They're the
Okay.
same thing.
It's
No,
hilarious.
they're not.
Good call with the
What was that, Barrage?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Barrage. Oh yeah, there you go.
He was doing the face.
He did the face
Same
again.
thing. That's Magnum.
No, they're not.
Same thing.
Oh my goodness, Zoolander. Good call to the Zoolander. But yes, okay. So, all right, let's see, Joe. Joe, I know this isn't really your style. What do you think? Would you give this a go at least? Maybe one or
right.
two rides.
So out of all of the games that Sir Dan gave us, this is the most difficult one to run on the main.
Yeah.
So I really had to dig deep on where to find the necessary files to play this, and I was able to play this eventually. And maybe it's just my controller, but the handling is quite very sensitive on the controller.
It's,
I think
like
I think
Afterburner.
it might. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more
There's like-
smoother if you right. If you press left and right, it just the camera just
again,
cuts
it's,
like so sharply, right? And I'm like, yeah,
It's,
if you manage to maybe gently veer left and right,
Yeah.
then you'll have that smooth transition on your turns. But if you're going full speed, and you can't help but to press left and right hard. So the
That's what I'm
camera
saying. I
angles
mean,
were
are you
like,
gonna have the mindset to like, oh, as you're running full speed, slightly give me a slight? No, you're just gonna fucking jam it. You're not gonna think
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
no.
fucking high speed race.
That's what made it so good in the arcade, because it was them slight leans and that like kind of analog control where you felt every inch you were leaning, which made it feel so good and immersive. But obviously, when you translate that to control,
Because you're actually sitting
let me-
on an entire
You're
bike
actually
to
on it.
control it.
Yeah.
But have you ever fell off the bike, Dan?
Well,
No,
first time playing this, I said, this is the kind of game Sir Joel might enjoy. Like
I would. I would.
like,
Yeah.
Better
yeah.
than fishing?
Oh,
no,
hard
I mean-
call on that one. Hard call
I
on
mean,
that one. Yeah.
Not like fishing has its own thing, but Sir Joel is like fishing and racing at the same time. Like one is relaxing and one is adrenaline. Again,
Okay.
Sir Joel is a walking conundrum sometimes.
You find that game in an arcade, Joel? You find that game in an arcade, you need to take your fishing pole with you.
Oh yeah.
Blue steel fishing.
Fishing while riding a bike.
I would play a game
Brilliant.
like that. Fishing while riding a bike. Yeah.
That's something.
What
Oh,
else?
actually,
Yeah.
I need to find that for my Saturn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Oh, there you
uh,
go.
like,
Nice.
yeah,
Use-
I mean, like you guys
use
mentioned,
the
it's only
3D
like two,
controller, because you need the analog stick for this one. So, you know,
Okay.
only like what?
yeah.
Like you guys said, it's just
Support.
two race courses, and I'm like,
Mhm.
am I supposed to beat these two courses and then I'll unlock more? But no, it's just the two apparently. So, and I'm like, And for the life of me, I cannot go beyond sixth place. But I'm like, hey, at least I was able to play this. I mean, I gave it a go, a good hour or so. Although I can imagine uh, sitting on like the actual arcade game of this, like the actual motorbike controller of this. And the only reason why I can probably think of, Sir Joel, and you're right, this will not fly back in the 90s in our arcade games, because I saw how big the actual arcade machine for this game, like the one with Sir Dan sitting on in this picture. It's quite big. We don't have the space for this.
True,
yeah,
true.
it's a shame. I think that is a.
That's why you go and make it bigger. You put on your vest and your helmet.
That's why
No, I'm saying no. What I'm saying is like because our arcade especially in our malls, they're so very cramped.
Oh yeah, they're small.
And
Yeah,
looking
they're
at the
very
actual arcade cabinet of this with the actual motorbike body, I mean, as good as this was, I don't think people will be. You know what? I can probably fit in two more Marvel versus Capcom cabinets in this space,
True.
Yeah,
rather than
yeah.
have this.
I mean, look, it worked at Sega World because obviously it's Sega's own arcade, and they're 3 floors, and it's a lot of space. You know, and I was actually discussing with someone I was playing online with yesterday. Because what would be your dream if you won that 111 million on the Euro Millions lottery tomorrow? What would you do with that money? Like, I would actually create an arcade. That would be like a passion project. I'd create it, and I would make sure it would be like the best amusements. That's like a dream of mine. Obviously, it's a lot of money you throw in, and you get a little bit out, so it doesn't make any business sense. But it's something I want to do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in the long run, honestly, with
exactly
that though, in the long run, it will, because then
In the long run, I'll be dead by the time
you're going to start, you're going to start generating traffic. You know what I'm saying? If you have a good arcade, you know what I'm saying, it has hella good shit in it. Guess what? It's word of mouth. People are going to be like, oh, do you need to come over here and play this? You need to come
There
over
are a
here and play
few
this.
in the UK, but it's like there isn't one that really. It doesn't have everything. I want to create one which has everything. You know, because you're gonna have stuff that's missing games.
Then you
Yeah,
have
I
to pay a
think
visit
it's
to here to
yeah.
New Jersey, because we're
But
starting
guess
with
what?
tons of arcades here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do an arcade, you got to make sure you add the claw machines, because that's where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to make your
Oh,
money.
yeah.
I think it's a tough one. If you're gonna make an arcade, you have to think what games do people want to play. That's another one as well. And Sega would be on my top priority, and I'd want to have those experience arcades. The whole point in an arcade is you want that escape, and that was Yu Suzuki's vision. And it carried on from those earlier games in the 80s with games like this one and so many more. That if I was going to create an arcade, it is there to be that escape. It is
All
there
right.
to be that thing.
I think that's a good way to conclude the episode. Yeah.
It's a good, this game is a good attraction, to say the least. Yes.
In terms of this country,
Like a big attraction for
scene
your job.
the arcade scene isn't what it used to be, and I'd like to reinvigorate that. If America, New Jersey has enough of it, we don't need any more. We need it in London. We need it in this city, and we need to make sure that it's accessible by many. And it's, I think that it would be nice if youth, for the youth to come into these arcades or whatever, because I'd rather them, settle their differences in a game of Street Fighter than with knives on the street. And I think there's a lot of youth. There's a forgotten generation out there because of the way the economy has gone. I'm speaking for the UK. I don't know about America, but things have gotten a bit bad recently.
Same thing, dude. I mean,
things in
kids out here are quick to pick up a gun versus the fucking settle it in a fist fight or just fucking talk it out.
I don't know if that's what reasons there are, but I think the arcade, generally speaking, was a place of unity and community. And I think, whilst there are youth centres and things like that, but a lot of them aren't getting the funding in this country. And it's a shame because, there is a lot of youth out there that are just going down the wrong path. And I think this would be a nice thing. But again, that's a dream of mine. If I'd want to give something back to the things. And I would look at this as a philanthropy. If anything.
You do that, you better fly us all out there, motherfucker, and like lose.
Oh yeah, I win 111 million this Friday, which I don't think I will. But you know what I mean. If I ever win, of course, I'd do this. I'd make it like something good. I'd want to make something good out of it because what's the point of winning all this money and spending it on yourself? Like they're not going to spend 111 million. Like what do I need all that crap for? I'll pay off my mortgage. I'll get a nice car, but after that, you still got so much left.
Oh yeah,
All right, and that's going to be a discussion we're going to be taking offline. RV, I think it's time to wrap it up. There you
Yeah.
go.
Perfect.
Now,
My,
just-
my,
just-
well,
just before
my
we go-
last question before.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Dan.
Oh yeah. You have one. Yeah. Let's listen to Dan first, and then
Yeah, no, go
one
ahead.
has a question for Dan.
Okay.
Sorry, so Joe, I've just sent you another little picture, and I just want to give an honourable. First of all, I want to give Sir Joe some internet bait to wind people up because I know he likes
Okay.
that stuff. But well, that was me
wow.
playing Outrun. There's a different. I've just saying this that I didn't pick Scud Racing, but if that's another one just as an honourable mention that had amazing off the scale, mind blowing graphics. And I often see this meme floating around Facebook of it's 1996. You think, how can graphics get any better than this? And they always put Mario. And I just absolutely piss myself laughing because I see Scud Racer from 1996 and think you stop limiting yourself to N64 crap and realize if you go to the arcades, it looks way better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Off the scale, absolutely off the scale. So
110% agreed on that one. Yes,
Literally,
Juan.
Scud Racing looks just like Daytona USA.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
dead on.
Yes, Juan. You had a question for Dan.
So I mean, I'll shoot it to Dan, but then too I can shoot it to everybody. But if you were to have a Sega arcade in your house, what would it be?
I would. Yeah, I'd probably do. What was the original title of Gale Racer on the Sega Saturn? Gale Racer.
I'm not sure which one.
Sega Saturn. I think it was originally called Radmobile. I'd want Radmobile on at home. Radmobile because I have a special connection to that because it was I love the graphics.
It comes with this.
It does. Very cool.
It's in there. Radmobile's in there.
Really?
Yeah,
Dang,
it's also
gonna
got
have to get
Sonic's
that
first
then.
appearance in there, but Radmobile's
And
in
yes, Sonic's also very first appearance is on the Radmobile as a keychain.
Oh,
I'm going to call that. Yeah. So definitely Radmobile for me. All right. Anybody else?
Joe, what would your arcade of choice be?
Joe.
I'm trying to look for that game. Maybe you guys know about it. They ported it on the Dreamcast, the beat 'em up game.
Virtua Fighter?
Yeah.
there.
No. It's a beat 'em up game that they ported to the Dreamcast. Dreamcast? What was that Saturn? It's like they kind of look like cops, but they were sent in a boat. They're trying to save the president's daughter or something like that.
You're talking about Die Hard Arcade.
No. I'll search for it. You go.
All right,
you
Go
guys
ahead.
go first.
Next person.
On my screen, I'll go next. So my arcade of choice will be Initial D. Hands
Initial
down.
D. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Dude,
for
Initial
me,
D when it comes to like racing is like my all-time fucking favorite.
Nice.
okay.
Great shot, mate.
What about you, Viraj?
For me, it'll be Outrun
Viraj,
2SP.
you.
Outrun 2SP.
Okay.
Outrun 2SP. Because it's so simple, and it would be
There
like
you go.
one thing I love that the arcades in London.
There you go.
You got like it'll be the four player one and the different Ferraris that you can sit in, and they're like one's a red one and one's like the Dino Ferrari, and they've made it. It's Outrun 2SP DX version arcade. And you got 4 screens, and you have 4 different players you can race against. And if I had the space and an arcade at home, that would be the one. And I had my friends round. And the great thing about Outrun is it's so accessible, and it's a beautiful looking game. It still holds up today. Outrun 2 still holds up today. I know, obviously Initial D is its own thing. Outrun 2 is its own thing. But that would be the one I'd go for. That you know what? Like whenever I go to the arcades and I see an Outrun 2,
Dynamite Deca, Joe.
Dynamite Cop. God damn it. There you go.
Dynamite Cop. Oh, there you go. That's it.
Yeah,
God damn it.
Richard saved your ass on that one.
Dynamite Cop. There you go. Thanks, Sir Richard.
Well,
There you
Dynamite Cop is Die Hard. Well, yeah, I forget.
What's
I said
it?
it.
Yeah, it is Die Hard in a boat.
No, it's Die Hard. So when they ported it to Saturn, it was called Die Hard Arcade. They got. Anyway, don't forget I said it. But it's Dynamite Cop. It's the same bloody game. But never mind. Go on.
All right, RV.
Yeah,
You're up.
same game.
What would be your arcade of choice?
Probably a classic racing game, Daytona. I like racing.
Daytona. All right. Okay. All right, Dan. You can take it out. Let's put the focus on Dan and let him give us the answer.
Always going to be Afterburner. Always gonna be
Afterburner,
I
yeah.
mean, why not Afterburner Climax?
Uh,
You ever play it?
It's just, I think Afterburner Climax, yeah, I think it's great, but I just think Afterburner 2, it's just non-stop. Afterburner, what I think Afterburner Climax, it's transitioned past that when the PlayStation era come in, and that games sort of slow down a bit and give players breathing space because they weren't used to the difficulty and intensity. And that's what I love. I love that non-stop, breathing, bosh, 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 bosh.
Yeah. Afterburner 3 Climax. Well, Afterburner Climax has that though.
There's quite a bit of breathing. There's not the, when you're doing the later levels of Afterburner 2, you can't
Oh, and
okay.
There's also the fact that it doesn't have the charm of the original Afterburner 2. The whole hand-drawn rendering of almost everything, actually everything of the entire arcade. So the love that was put into the Afterburner 2 arcade really does shine.
Yeah. But so does the Afterburner Climax one, if you ever saw it.
Well, a different kind of love happens in Climax. But anyway, so let's.
I always feel that when it gets to 95, 96, I always feel nearly every game after that just is a bit smoother and spaced out, which is great for accessibility, and I can't fault people for preferring that. But I want that.
I think Ryan gave the proper answer here. Arcade system
All
to
of
own, if given a chance, he wants them all. That's the right answer to all of it. He's got the right answer there.
If we do that, then I want something custom made, like custom built. I want to have a fucking arcade.
Well, they have that now, to be honest.
Oh, well.
You can get stuff built like that now.
All 6 games of Streets of Rage, literally in a fucking cabinet. Bam, against the wall. Guns up.
What do you mean all six games?
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 2 for Game Gear.
There you go.
And the remake.
And the remake.
And the Master System games.
Yeah.
Right.
And the mod ones.
All right. So I think we
there's like 900 of them.
We just
actually, you guys keep on hawking Daytona. We got Sir JDM has a short presentation regarding Daytona.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you guys can muster a little bit more time. Sir JDM, take it away.
Hello, Timeless Gamers. Juan DeMarcos here, and I am currently on a vacation, but I heard that the crew are talking about Sega arcade games, not the ports, but the original arcade versions. So here I am, and I'm going to talk to you about the Sega arcade game that I was actually able to play and enjoy in the arcade, and it's called Daytona USA 2. As a snotty little kid in the 90s, I played my fair share of racing games like F1 Race, Ridge Racer, Motorhead, and so on. But in 1998, when I was in the United Arab Emirates, I somehow managed to get a copy of a magazine called Sega Saturn Magazine, issue number 33. And this issue featured, if I could recall, the highly anticipated Sega Dreamcast and some previews of upcoming games such as the tactical RPG Shining Force 3, mecha-based arcade fighter Fighting Vipers 2, Resident Evil clone Deep Fear, and the obscure psychological horror game D2. As I flipped through the pages, I came across this very vibrant, scorching hot, full-page render of Daytona USA 2 Battle on the Edge. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I mean, look at those details. I grew up with F1 Race on the old Famicom and Ridge Racer Revolution on the PS1. And looking at this, it's a major improvement on race car graphics design. Just look at that. Oh yeah. Look at it. Man, it looks so good.
Okay.
So moving on. Daytona USA 2 Battle on the Edge was
Wow.
released in Japan in
Oh
June of
my
1998 and elsewhere
one.
in October of the same year for Sega Arcade Model 3. It featured a deluxe single and twin cabinets, the latter getting a few units, and it can be hooked in together for a 16-car battle. Now you'd be asking me why I chose this Sega arcade game out of all the other games out there. Back in my time in the UAE, I was able to experience playing Daytona USA 2 on the actual arcade cabinet. We went to the famous Dera City Center Mall in Dubai, and there it was. Shining yellow cabinet with a huge display, a proportionally huge speaker, just sitting there, nobody's playing it. So I went in and tried playing it. It was pure, unadulterated fun as I swept through the tight corners and bumped into other cars. It's just awesome. You start the game with choosing 3 different courses: the Forest Dome, Joypolis Amusement Park, and Virtua City. The Forest Dome is your typical novice oval track in the middle of a forest. Here you can measure the top speed of your chosen vehicle. The amusement park has a few tight bends and curves to traverse. Situated in an amusement park with visuals ranging from a huge pirate vessel and a gigantic devil spider from hell. Virtua City is set in a metropolis called New Joke City. I'm not even kidding. With really sketchy dead ends and sharp turns. This course requires you to pay attention to your surroundings, as you can't afford losing those precious seconds reversing your car and realigning your car on the racetrack. On the car selection, you have the very cutesy Chum's Gum, which is modeled after the Chevrolet Monte Carlo. The flashy yellow Scorpio Plasma, modeled after the Pontiac Grand Prix. And the edgy Phantom Full Force, modeled after the 1992 Ford Thunderbird. Each car drives and handles differently. Want easy steering? Try Chum's Gum as a beginner. Do you want control of your acceleration and braking? Then choose the well-balanced Scorpio Plasma. If you're into swooping power and drifting, then Phantom Full Force is the ride for you. My favorite is the Phantom. It's because I'm an edgy daredevil and all that, rushing through walls and barriers. I can even do some spinning maneuvers with it. The great thing about arcade racers is that you don't really have to check the tires, suspensions, gear ratios, and all those things that you do in Gran Turismo and other games. It's like, I'm no grease monkey. I'm a race driver, god damn it. The steering controls
You need to be a
is
grease
really
monkey
smooth,
to understand
and
cars.
you can almost feel the traction of the vehicle when you skid on the asphalt. A new added feature in the series is the ability to use a slingshot maneuver by driving behind an opponent's vehicle to give yourself a speed boost. The graphics is truly next gen for its time. In Sega Rally and Ridge Racer, you can see the polygons on the vehicles. The car designs are blocky, and they look like they were Tesla prototypes. But in Daytona USA 2, the vehicles look smooth and well shaded. The in-game physics is great as well. Rushing through walls and other vehicles will cause cosmetic damage to your own vehicle, like in Demolition Derby and Twisted Metal. The objects outside the racetracks are completely destructible too. Be careful though, as your vehicles can only withstand a couple of crashes before it bursts into flames. In addition, I know Dan will attest to this, the music in Daytona USA 2 is amazing. Audio is in high fidelity, which means the music and sound effects adds to the immersion like you're on the road. Imagine racing to the tune of these hard rock and hair metal bangers.
Wow.
With a cameo for Dan too. There you go.
Daytona USA 2 has not been ported to any console ever until very recently. In 2003,
Oh, yeah.
the Power Edition of the game was included as a playable sub-game in Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, from Ryoga Gotoku Studio. If you're a real Yakuza fan, you know Toshihiro Nagoshi, who happens to be the producer of the Daytona series. The Power Edition is an improved version of the game and featured additional vehicles and racetracks. And in 2025, the original arcade version of Daytona USA 2 was finally re-released as a playable game in Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, and was renamed Sega Racing Classic 2 since they no longer had their NASCAR trademark license. All in all, I was so fortunate to experience this game on its original arcade form. When I got back here in the Philippines, I can't remember if I even saw this game in the arcade shops. Maybe I have been looking in a different direction. I don't know. But what I do know is that Daytona
Like One
USA 2
Direction.
Battle to the Edge offers a classic arcade racing experience, and every racing game fan and even casual should try it. So that's all for me today. Once again, this is Juan DeMarcos. See you in the next episode, and keep it timeless.
There you go.
Oh, excellent. Well
That was
done, JDM. Amazing.
Daytona.
He made us all look retarded with this
And-
presentation. I'm just
And
saying.
how did you like your little cameo there, Dan?
Brilliant. The whole thing, it was a brilliant little section, that, but that did make me laugh. Thank you very much, Juan.
There you go.
His toilet paper and lotion caught me off guard.
I know.
I wasn't expecting that shit at all.
Dirty man. I think, he raised a really interesting point, though, about how Sega should. They have such a rich arcade heritage. They need to make a lot of home ports, and a lot of the Model 2, 3, 1, a lot of them haven't had re-releases. Even some of the stuff like Beirut has never had a home release. So it's like
And guess what? And if they do that, guess what? It's gonna make money, and us as gamers are gonna fucking buy it.
Yes.
It's
I don't
true,
understand,
it's so wild that they've got all that heritage and all those IPs and everything sat there, and they're doing very little with it.
Well,
It's-
they've cancelled a super game, another one. They're throwing money at crap, and there's nothing to show for it. And then the CEO, President of America, they need to get rid of him, in my view, because for him, when he said Sega is not a retro company, to be, and why are you not proud of your heritage?
We here in Sega of America and
They should
Japan
forget.
do not
let's,
believe that we are on the money of all of the retro games. We
I'm
look
not-
forward to the future. We are no
I'm not
longer
against
looking.
them making new games. I want them to make new games. I want them to be successful. That should be their first strategy. But they need an intermediary strategy to back themselves up. They need to focus on their heritage as well and bring that back to the foray. Because there are people who missed out on it. There's an X factor of people that missed out on some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff. In fact, you got RV here. This is the first time he's played these games. He might be interested in that stuff. All right, why don't you give him a chance? He slags. So
We have a saying in Japan, fuck
give him a
RV.
go. And that's another thing.
Ancient
They've got a lot of
Confucius
good stuff.
saying.
They give them their own nation. Like, why can't they give the rest of the world, all this other stuff? And I know I've gone around in circles. I keep bringing
Because
this
they
up.
just focus on fucking Sonic. like
Yeah,
Sonic,
but
Sonic,
this is
Sonic,
it.
Sonic, Sonic.
Right, how about we get some Sega Saturn Mini coming out, and they'll make so much money doing that, and they think, okay, well, it didn't sell that great in the West.
Even JDM called that out in his video. One, the fact that suddenly Sonic music started playing, like
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, Sonic games make them
sharp
money.
video,
That's why they do it.
excellent
They've got
sharp
the movies.
video, I would say.
Another thing we failed to mention as well is there's going to be an Outrun movie. That Sydney
I
Sweeney's
don't think I've
producing
heard
it.
all of that.
Sydney
No.
Sweeney's producing it, man. Coming out next year. Yeah, look it up, man.
Yeah.
Outrun, they're going to make a movie on that. Sega started to make a cinematic universe, so why not, man?
Well, then you guys need to be prepared too this year for Drifter. So Sun Kang's little spin-off on Initial D.
What annoys me with Sega with that is that they kind of do it very bitty. So we had Shinobi the other year, and then now we're getting Outrun, and I'm like,
the movie,
you need to create a buzz. It's like being in a band. When you release your first album, you already want your second album or EP.
They need a strategy. They need a strategy, and they need to market themselves. As being
3
a prime
years
player
time
again.
frame for mine.
Yeah. You want to be in your Outrun the movie, then with Streets of Rage the movie, then with Streets of Rage the 5.
Now you're talking, Dan. Fucking Streets of Rage the movie. I think it'd be fucking.
Sometimes I think we'd be better. We'd be better as executives for Sega than some of these clowns they got running the show. That's the thing.
Well,
that really
how about
they
we
don't
write
know
it,
what they
and guess what? Viraj can be Blaze Fielding.
Why
Hey,
do
get on
you
his
have
ass.
to make this? Why do you have to make this some sort of queer thing? Yeah. All right. Let's move on from that. But,
Come
All
on,
right. Well,
laugh,
anyway,
laugh, man, laugh.
we've busted way past the 3-hour limit.
bloody
RV, let's wrap it up, okay?
Okay, on that note, thanks. It's time for the
more
shameless
time, the better.
plugs. Before I do, I want to thank Sir Richard Ryan, Sir Marlon, Sir JDM for the video, Sir Jake Vegas, Sir Marlon, Sir RV, Sir Baron Roca, Miss I, as well as special thank you to Sir Dan for coming. Much appreciated for your presence.
You
Also
can't
want to thank
forget
the rest of the-
Jose in his shots at Viraj.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Jose.
Fuck you, Jose,
Tasmania and
yeah?
Outrun are the
Jose,
same
listen,
game.
Yeah? Bring Tasmania.
Just like
to
Magnum and
fucking sacrilege, mate. Fucking diabolical. Go on.
I want to thank all the panelists for giving their thoughts on all the Sega games we went through. So Dan, where can they, after your Burner 2, where can they catch you?
There you go.
Just come over to the Sega Genesis group on Facebook at the minute. That's where we're at. And say hello.
Thank you, Sir
Hello.
Dan. Sir Viraj, where can they crack you down?
you.
Well, as I mentioned,
On their knees, hopefully.
I'm always in the Sega Genesis group on Facebook. All right. And you can find me here on this podcast. And I'll be at the London Gaming Market on June 21st.
Thank you, Sir Viraj. So one, where can they golden your axe?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, hopefully on their knees. Ah.
Whoa.
No, you guys can catch me here on the Timeless Gamers Show weekly, and then next week you guys can catch me and some of the panelists on Saturday Smirk Talk.
There you go.
But yeah, I will see you guys on the next episode. And back
Thank
to you.
you, Sir One. And Sir Joel, where can they shin your Nobi?
Okay.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a euphemism for something, but anyway, so you can almost always find me here on the Timeless Gamer Show, unless real life gets in the way. And yes, streaming my retro and modern games on kick.com, on streamer.live, streamer.live, streamr.live, the brand new streaming platform. Very light, very easy to use. Create your account, start streaming. You might find yourself the next brand new streamer. Oh, I completely forgot to mention streamer.live, no censorship whatsoever. If you like, you can play whatever you want. There will be nobody who will, butcher your video or mute you or whatever. You will be able to stream.
You can
whatever
show
you
your
like.
tits. We don't care.
Absolutely, yes, that's true. Streamer.live, and you will be able to find me there. You will be able to find me there streaming the most explicit stuff. So look for Banyaging Native on kick.com, on rumble.com, on twitch.tv, and on streamer.live. Back to you, RB.
Thank you, Sir
I mean,
Joel.
with all seriousness, guys, we're the admins and the mods there. Yeah, we don't care.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And so Joe, where can they out your run?
Yeah.
They can out me. They can out me by going here. in this channel, I'm always here, so you can out me here.
You've outed yourself
and-
wearing that cap. Go on, continue.
Oh, and fun fact: if you're looking for Sir Dan or Sir Viraj on the Sega Facebook page, you don't have to look for them. Just say something bad about Sega in general.
Oh, and then pop
They'll
it
come to you.
And like, poof.
Fuck off, man.
They'll come
You know
to.
what I mean?
They'll come on to your ass.
So Jose's got a death wish with that Tasmania shit. Tasmania's the same as that one.
Just say anything negative about anything Sega, and they'll come to you. You don't have to. Yeah, they're not. They're not. I mean, they're hard to find. Yeah. So just say something bad about Sega. As bait, and then they'll come to you directly.
You know what I mean?
Nintendo all day, son.
What?
Nintendo.
Nintendo 64, bitch.
We've got a few
Nintendo
little,
64, bitch.
we've got a few Nintendo little bitches in the group that we keep in there just to
Oh, there you go.
Chrono Trigger is better than Shining Force
Joshua Hunt.
or Fantasy Star.
All right, RV.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you
just
so
us
mention
much.
Chrono
home.
Trigger. That's it. That's all it takes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
there we go.
you can
Chrono
catch
Trigger.
me. I'm sorry, RV. You can catch me on Saturday Smart Talk next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Timeless Gamers show, where our games and our bodies may go out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain.
Timeless.
Catch you next
All
time.
right, everybody, enjoy your weekend. Make sure you
There we
get
go.
lots of rest, lots of water. See you guys again whenever we
Mirage.
see each other. Bye now.
Nintendo.
Fuck you. Fuck you. All right.
All right.
Sega.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Oh, Blue Steel.